Good evening, everybody. I see the conversation in the chat. No worries. We're not going to run that late. You will not miss much of the show at all if you bail around 8. All right, let's get this party started. All right, folks, welcome to Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. I'm your host, Rich Barris, the People's Pundit. Is this our first Friday show at 6 p.m.? I think it might be. All right, it's going to be a busy weekend for the People's Pundit, folks, okay? We're going to start, look, I'm probably going to release it the day before the election because I think we're going to track it that close to it, just in case. I don't want to miss any late breaking moves or anything like that. But we'll be starting in Kentucky's 4th congressional district. Of course, probably the most attention-grabbing primaries so far of the cycle, which, of course, is incumbent Representative Thomas Massie, who came by the show, and his Trump-backed challenger, Ed Galrin, who really is a never-Trumper. I mean, we got to call it how it is on the show. He is a never-Trumper that the Trump team, the Trump endorsement team, which is awful, found to replace Thomas Massie. No matter what you think of Thomas Massie or not, this is a guy who has been hiding in his basement to avoid, including from the show, to avoid talking to voters because he got tens of millions of dollars from Israel First money and hopes that he can just bombard Massie. Look, that's the truth. That's the nature of this race. All right. And I'm not, you guys know if you've been following me a long time, Massie, Tucker's right. Massie is a fine man now that I've gotten to know him more. He is a fine man. Do I agree with his politics all the time? Absolutely not. But he is a good man. And, you can at least count on him to stand where he says he's going to stand. And Israel, even though that has not really been his predominant issue, Israel and the Israel Epstein class thing became huge for him because, of course, he was the pusher, co-sponsor of the Epstein Transparency Act. And that was the final straw for Donald Trump, who really did not want the Epstein files released because he wanted to protect certain people. That's just the fact. Okay. Right. And then he did not release them. He shouldn't get credit for releasing them. It's just the truth because he didn't want it. And he was outmaneuvered by Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, who were, by using the petition process, was able to circumvent leadership and get a vote on the floor, which was the most bipartisan vote so far of the Trump administration. And it's by far the most popular bill passed in the Trump administration. You know, I feel about this. It would be a Pyrrhic victory if they defeat Thomas Massie, because Thomas Massie is not just a representative of that wing of the coalition from Kentucky 4. He's a nationally recognized representative of MAHA and of the libertarian wing and of that wing of America First, which was so critical to winning easily in 2024. So you're going to replace him with a boomer candidate who was molded into this MAGA that he is not. He's not. All right. The guy was a COVID lockdown lover. He hated Donald Trump. He left the Republican Party after it nominated Donald Trump in 2016 and did not return until Joe Biden took the keys from the White House out of Donald Trump's hand. Then he re-registered as a Republican. I kid you not. So all you're going to do is what? Pander to the primary boomer voting base, which is a minority of the boomer generation now. The Hannity Levin wing of the party, all for nothing, because you're going to cost yourself coalition members that you need to win in November. All right. So we're starting that this weekend. Smaller questionnaire than it was before. We don't need to ask so much great detail about stuff. Of course, we'll still be doing favorability ratings and approvals for Massie himself, the president, certain things and issues about the president. But honestly, we want the highest degree of participation in this poll possible. And we really need to push some of these younger generation people to see in a bigger screen. That's why we're removing some of the stuff that was really, it's unnecessary now, in order to tightly screen for likely voters a little bit more. Why? Kentucky 4 is not a boomer district, but we need to know whether these younger people are actually going to vote. And when I say younger, I mean under 65. That's what Thomas Massie led with every age group in our last poll below the age of 65. Ed Galrin led with 65 plus by like 30 points. Massie led by, it was massive. I think it was like, what was it, guys? 75-20 or something among 18 to 29-year-olds. 30 to 44, he was clobbering Ed Galrin. 45 to 46, he was winning, but he was winning by single digits. They were breaking for him, though. So I think he was up by like 6 or 8. And that's the group that we need two things. Are those younger people who are under 45, how much are they going to vote? And the reason why I say this is because Kentucky 4 is not like other districts. Primary participation among younger voters is not uncommon. 18 to 44, that is where all of the new registration gains are. There's nothing above that, particularly those who are 30 to 44 who have families. And this is a very Massie-friendly demographic. Are they disappointed and disaffected and they're just not going to vote regardless? Or did all of the money that Marion Adelson bankrolled Ed Galrin with backfire and cause higher turnout among younger voters who typically do not vote in the primary? Because that can happen. Sometimes you can overdo it. All right. That Massie has spent money since we polled last time. And the last poll had Massie up by 4. But it's true that when we first started polling that race, he was up by much more than that. So the question is, how big is Galrin's lead with 65 plus? Did Massie lose any ground with 45 to 64? And how many of these people under 45 are actually going to vote? And where? Of course. And where? Galrin needs a heavily boomer 65 plus electorate. And he needs a heavily Boone electorate. He was losing everywhere else. We'll see if that continues to be the case when we poll it again. And that's the question. All right. What else? Big unexpected victory for the Republican Party in the state of Virginia. The state Supreme Court followed the letter of the law, which none of us expected. That's just true. I mean, sometimes you like being wrong. Now, I wasn't wrong about a political thing. This is more of a legal thing. Just to be clear, but I was wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. Virginia is one of 2 states where the legislature will dictate whether you keep your ass on that Supreme Court or not. It is a heavily Democratic legislature now. So if you are a Supreme Court justice, a state Supreme Court justice, you need to make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's on something like this. Throwing out a referendum is serious, serious business. Fanatics, when North Carolina was a majority left-wing, these were fanatical left-wing judges. They would throw out referendums all the time. It was atrocious. It was absolutely outrageous. However, they would throw them out on voter ID, concealed carry, gay marriage, things like that. The letter of the law here with this redistricting referendum that Democrats rammed through after winning the 2025 election was blatantly unconstitutional. Blatantly unconstitutional. That said, I didn't have any faith in the process because I expected these justices to just care about their own careers. Now, here's the deal. Here's what happened. In between me saying that and this ruling, something happened. The Supreme Court ruled on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And while they didn't totally gut it, like some people have said, they did kill one, obviously the main question, which is racial gerrymandering constitutional? And God bless Justice Samuel Alito. If you watched, I would actually tell you guys to go and watch the interview Jack Posobiec did with Molly Hemingway, who has a new book out, Alito. All right. How he pulls together consensus, even with, like he did in that case, pulling over one of the liberal judges, 2 of the liberal judges. Come on over here. Let's make this majority. Let's make this sound. This is sound. You can go with this. In that opinion, he dismantled the Virginia map. I mean, that's the problem. You can't get a Democratic only delegation in the state of Virginia unless you racially gerrymander. This is not, while it is a Democratic state now, it's not a strongly, I don't think it's purple. It's light blue, but it is a blue state now. That being said, it's not blue by 30 points, folks, 20 points, 30 points, 40 points, like some of these states were trying to push to do on the Republican side because Trump won them by that much. Mississippi, Alabama. This is a state Donald Trump lost roughly 10 points the most by Joe Biden. 5, 6 points, not huge. To gut every single Republican district or red-leaning district, R-plus district, with the map that they had requires racial gerrymandering. And by the way, they need to start suing like crazy other states like New Mexico, who did the same thing. You've got to start doing this, Republicans. So it was an unexpected victory. And I think for the locals, the road rage crowd, you guys saw we did a road rage earlier today. If you were on it, bear with me. If you were not, this is what I said. There was that, of course, and that consideration, which gave these justices an out. Like, look, this map is going to be struck down anyway, so let's just follow the letter of the law. And then I think there's potentially another consideration here, which is if we strike down this referendum and this map, if we do that, preventing them, then basically we may not want to goad Republicans into going balls to the wall. So if we strike this down, maybe Alabama backs out. Maybe Mississippi doesn't even and just holds firm and says no. Maybe we can minimize this to like Louisiana, for instance, and I hope he doesn't mind, but Seth Keshel and I were talking before, celebrating this victory, right? By the way, Seth was in my backyard, and I didn't know it till the day of, and I wasn't able to go and see him, but I wish I was able to do that. I'll be out over that way, Seth, by the way, when they bring Comey into the courthouse. I'm definitely going to see that. It's 20 minutes away. I'm going. Typical for the GOP not to go 6-0 in Louisiana and 7-0 in Alabama, though. They're like a wet fart. I mean, Seth is totally right. That and Indiana, and they'd already have the midterms done. I totally agree with Seth Keshel. Republicans would do what is necessary. Honestly, they could lose the generic vote by like 8 points and still win this thing. If they would have done what they needed to do. And they have to if they want to maintain Trump's presidency. If they want to hold Trump as Trump will be removed. This is not 26, 17, 18, 19, 20 anymore. These people are going to lose their spine once Donald Trump is a lame duck and is no longer really feared as being the future leader of the party. All of his new friends are going to turn on him. So if you're the Democrats and you're thinking, you know what, we strike this thing down, we still are plus on the redistricting war. This is still a better map than it was for us in 24. This is definitely a better map than it was for us in 22, and most definitely a better map than it was for us in 18. Democrats won by 8 points roughly in 18, and they smoked Republicans out of 30 seats, 30 plus. This time, they're thinking maybe it's like the reverse of Eric Erickson's point of view. Let's not risk ginning up Democrats more. But either way, that map was unconstitutional. Either way, that referendum was unconstitutional. It still doesn't excuse Republicans for being feckless cowards and stupid, greedy morons like the people in charge of the money who couldn't find it in their hearts after spending $100 million on John Cornyn against an actual MAGA warrior, Ken Paxton. They couldn't find it in their heart to appropriate another $4 to $10 million. And 4 is honestly another 4 million probably would have put them over the top. We've done the math. Raheem Kassem is in the ballpark in his article on National Pulse, but why not throw another 10 million at it for 4 seats? Why would you not do that? How much are you going to spend on 4 or 5 battleground seats anyway come November? Put it together in your head. Of course it was worth it. So here, they had a rare victory, which is like a real solid substantive victory here. And unexpected, because of course this court was not expected to be favorable to them. Whatever the motives are, it's a win. It is definitely a win for them. It doesn't mean they should stop, though, because what the referendum proved to us is that, in fact, Democrats would not stop, would they? If Democrats had this opportunity, they would not. They would keep going. They always go for the jugular. Always. All right. Let me just really quick. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Just checking in on with Laura about something. All right. So also, by the way, in a little bit, we're going to bring on somebody who's been, our audience is awesome. I mean, we're going to bring on Kevin O'Brien. He ran for office, and I wanted to talk about like the importance of doing this. But we'll bring him on in a little bit. Our audience is making moves, man. I mean, people are putting themselves forward, and it's really something to behold. We want somebody who may actually be a senator, second senator. That's how it works in the land down under. As of right now, the polling suggests they are going to get a second seat, which would mean he will be. This is critically important for a number of reasons, which I will save most of them to when he comes on. But if you do nothing, they won't react. Even if you run and you lose, you force them to respond. You also get experience at it, and you get better at it. I wrote the other day on, I don't know what it got. It did well on X. And then I basically talked about it on Locals. But the Republican Party's never going to make America great again, guys, until they get rid of their own disgusting traitors in their ranks. And that starts at the local level. It rides all the way up national, but you can't dismiss how important these local races are. It doesn't matter how many times you elect Donald Trump. If you keep electing John Cornyn, you're never going to make America great again. Lindsey Graham is never going to make America great again. This is a joke. Let's be honest about it for once. In fact, right now, your Make America Great Again president is deciding when the right time is to provide amnesty to a bunch of undocumented workers that just so happen to serve GOP donor interests. Why? Because maybe he couldn't get the SAVE Act passed through Congress. You remember the RAISE Act from his first term? Even when Cotton and Perdue on board, he couldn't get it done. The election of one man, a revolution does not make. Bottom line. All right. So there's no doubt, though, if we go to Kalshi, for instance, all righty, which party will win the House? Democrats have taken a dive in it. Let's pop it up real quick. And I was right on the time, right, Laura? Yeah. Thank you, sweetheart. If we pop it up on, is this going to show my portfolio on Kalshi? I really would rather not. Okay, good. I'm not signed in. I'd rather not do that, you know? All right, let me put this up. Here is the House. Democrats were favored to win the Senate. I will show you that in a second. That is now back. There's been some moves, without a doubt. Some people here bought, what is that? I guess it's my liquidity from something else, from another trade. Anyway, no, I'm not signed in. It's not mine. Anyway, Republicans are up now 4%. They were down to 21. You can see how they moved. Look at that, though. Since April 23rd, listen, I got to tell you, I know. If you do the generic ballot model, which Barnes and I and Mark Mitchell and I were going through, wow, that's an enormous amount of money. I meant to cite that, and I will. We were going through, I think somebody had asked on Grok or something, but basically the Grok analysis that was trending earlier is somewhat close to what has long been known as the generic ballot model. And we've been over that before. As it stands right now with the generic ballot model, it's really more like 90-10. All right. And the problem with that even is that you have to add on top of the 90-10, you have to consider what another variable here, okay? And the generic ballot is supposed to take in all of this into consideration. So, like when we talk about predictive variables like the economy and various sentiments and et cetera, the generic ballot, of course, is a measure of the national mood. So it encompasses all of that. And then we can do the math based just on that. That's Alan Abrowitz's entire argument with the generic ballot model. And it's very accurate. It's more accurate with the House than it has been with the Senate, but it's not, that is not a function of the generic ballot. That is a function of cyclical specific contests. So what seats are up after which presidential election in a particular cycle. And Senate has much more resistance. It has much more partisan strict resistance to the national mood than House districts do. Every House district, with the exception of redistricting, they're generally up, right? We know how those shifts will impact, how the generic ballot shifts will impact them 1 year over the next. 1 point shift, 1 point net shift equals a certain number of seats. And that's also true of Senate, by the way, on average. The problem with Republicans this run is that as of right now, the generic ballot model is basically a 90% that Democrats will take back the House of Representatives. Okay. The Senate is now, let's go to it actually before I bring this up. Let me just, I'll go over the Senate and then we'll briefly, where are you? I thought it was here. Hold on. Let's go to Senate. Which one won the Senate? Okay, so Republicans are at 56. They are down a point. Republicans are up a point. Okay. And then you can see some of these various seats here. And this is where, there's a problem right here. This is what you can see. For instance, Ohio. Look at that. I got to tell you guys, Sherrod Brown, whether you want to hear it or not, Sherrod Brown is not a 12%. His odds of winning are not 12%. Like, that's crazy. All right. He actually is almost certainly favored at this point. All right. And I'd love to poll Ohio to figure that out and actually know that for certain, but he's certainly not at 12. So the individual races and the overall are really they're not matching right now. And it's like Kalshi betters, and it's the same thing over predicted. They're not going from race to race and saying, okay, well, where are these seats that Republicans are going to hold on to? Where the hell are they? They're just not doing that. It's not baked into it. If they did, like, look at Alaska. I hate to tell you guys, but Dan Sullivan's in deep shit. Mary Peltola is probably going to beat him. All right. So unless something dramatically changes. And what else outside generic ballot national mood takes into consideration, who they think is more, who do they trust more on the various issues that they are currently prioritizing. But there's something else that's not always factored into the generic ballot model. And that, of course, is the impact of war. And starting unpopular wars without fail has cost that incumbent party who started those wars dearly. Okay? Dearly. Barnes and I were talking earlier, right? Looking at midterms, only comparable with recent unpopular wars, major scandals, cost of living spikes since, like, for instance, 1974. The GOP lost about 25% of their House seats and 25% of their Senate seats that year. That is unbelievably bad. And there have been other examples which weren't as catastrophic. And I think as we get more into the modern era, we're talking about 25% of the seats is just crazy, of course, right? But the seats that are up, the map is already expanded to that point. So, you have to start to realize that it's getting to the realm of, well, man, Tallarico is running stronger than expected. That's not looking good over there. Oh, man, Vivek is down. And Sherrod Brown got a ton more votes. Man, Republicans don't come out and vote in Ohio. Usted, the Epstein class guy, is not running strong at all. Couple that with Bernie Moreno in 2024. Donald Trump won Ohio by roughly 13.5 points. Bernie Moreno only won it by 3.5. With Donald Trump on the ballot, he ran 10 points behind Donald Trump. Nobody was calling him a member of the Epstein class. Republicans were juiced and voting like crazy. So you can start to see how easily things can fall apart for Republicans pretty quickly. all the more reason to make sure you redistrict. And that's what I'm basically saying right here. Republicans should be looking at their numbers right now, being realistic with themselves and saying, you know what, if Democrats were in this position, they would redistrict to the point where they could lose the generic House vote by 10 points and still have a chance to keep the House. I kid you not. And they're just not doing it. It's not good enough. Yeah, Rocket Boy, that's kind of funny. We'll get to the questions though in a bit, but that's a good thing. And I mean, soon, guys. I mean, if he's ready, Laura, just give me that hat tip, but it looks like you're having some issues. Just let me know. All right. So there that is. Okay. So what else is going on today? Going on this weekend. Of course, we have the polling that we always do. And then we have, that's what I wanted to show right before this. The polling that we always do. And, Massie's polling. And then there is some private work that I have to do and I have to get done. So it's going to be kind of a crazy weekend. But it's good. I mean, it'll mean we're everywhere, all over, and we'll have a really good idea, generally asking a lot of the same things all around the country in various different contests. Now, state level contests, senatorial, of course, federal, districts, national. So we'll have a very good idea of what in Sam Hell is going on. All right. Before I bring that on, I just want to show something real quick, Laura, right? Boom. Okay. This is Massie's money bomb. I just wanted to show people how much money they were able to raise, which is crazy. In less than 4 days, Massie's money bomb reached $847,950, thanks to thousands of patriots across the country. Soon we will buy the final TV ads and mail pieces for the last week of the campaign. Massie money bomb is still alive, and these donations are critical. Let me see what he's at right now. Holy cow, Laura. Oh my God. I want it to actually go in real time. I want you guys to see it. Look at this. Watch, it's going. Still going. Oh my God. That's grassroots. It's funny because I've done an analysis. This is where his donation map came from. If you go into his state, which is interesting, you will see that a lot of donations came from his district. And this is interesting because do you see those big concentrated areas where his donations came in? Do you see that? Those are vote-rich areas in or adjacent to his district. One of them is incredibly important because it is Boone County, Boone and Kenton. And he will need to perform. Boone is probably where the challenger has the most potential to hurt him, but I'm not going to get into that right now until we have new data. But this is remarkable to me. That's a lot of money, guys. And Tucker, obviously, look, it's going up as we're talking. Geez, he had a $1.2 million goal. This is why I said we'll start now, and then we'll see whether or not we can actually catch in the effect of the last minute spending in the campaign by both campaigns, of course. It's just that last time we did it, everyone had been pretty much over Gallrin's negative attack ads. They understood, okay, we're supposed to hate Thomas Massie. I get it. And there was nothing positive, and it was starting to become problematic because they cut into his lead a lot, and then they just stopped. And we could see it. We just saw it, just flatline. He couldn't get any closer because he couldn't break into any of the age demographics. And this is what I'm going to be watching for when we go into the field this weekend and then throughout the week, because of course this thing is in 11 days. Yeah. Massie's in 11 days, I believe, right? Yes, sir. May 19th. So I'd like to poll pretty much the entire damn time from this point forward. I know I'm going to play that clip, but let me bring on my guest. All right. I see you. I see your comments, but I'm going to play your clip first. All right. All right, folks. First of all, I think we're going to do this a little bit more often, especially if these are people who are like, inspired people, that are part of our community, whether it's online or locally or whatever. And they deserve, accolades here for what they've done. I want to show you how close my guest got to beating his opponent, which is against all odds. Really, Kevin, Welcome to the program. I really appreciate you coming on, Kevin.
Oh, Rich, thank you so much. I've been a fan of yours from the what was it, the War Room impeachment days.
Yeah, it has been that long. I mean, can I tell people your handle online or no? You want to keep that?
Well, we can keep that quiet for now, maybe later.
Okay. Guys,
But,
you'd recognize it if you're fans.
I'm sorry?
I said if they're fans, they would recognize it. You'll get it.
Probably would. But I want to say that, I followed, COVID first started.
Yeah.
I was sent home. I work insurance right now, insurance claims. And then I came home and I came along this show called War Room Impeachment.
Yep.
And that's when I first started watching. I would see you do some hits and stuff like that. And I've kind of been a political junkie my whole life. I could tell you, my history is I worked my way through college. I have a undergrad in political science, master's in urban planning and policy. I happened to get a job I worked for the city of Chicago in the budget, believe it or not. And as I talked to somebody down in Texas, he goes, "Well, the bloom came off the rose pretty quickly." And I said, as far as how decisions are really made. I was young and idealistic and wanted to make a lot of changes. Anyhow, I learned a lot. Then I was out at O'Hare Airport for about a year in the real estate division, and then in the transportation division for several years. I was actually involved in some of the planning. I was a low-level guy, but in the planning for Millennium Park and how they designed that. Long story short, around that time, I really enjoyed having, I would say I would have one or two, but sometimes I would be out until one or two, if I think you know what I mean. And then I met a guy named Bill Wilson. So anyhow, and long story short, I reconnected with my wife. I live and she was down in Texas. I was up in Chicago. What am I still doing here? I even traded futures for a short time, and a lot of family that was down on the Board of Trade.
Fun.
You were in the trading world, right?
Yep, that's fun. Futures fun. Could be a little bit,
So I was still young and full of piss and vinegar, and I figured, I can do that. I got to be smarter than half of my brothers. I've got 6 older brothers. Long story short, I quit that. I wanted to figure out what to do next in my life. And my wife, who we actually went to grade school, we reconnected. She was living down here in Austin, Texas, Cedar Park, actually, just outside of Austin. And we dated for about a year. Again, we went to grade school. That's another story. But we reconnected, married, baby on the way. And then I got a job and things were good. And then I got a second baby on the way, and she was diagnosed with Down syndrome. So that kind of changed my career path. But she just turned 18. And, I wanted to get involved. I always had an itch for politics and as far as how things really work behind the scenes. So I became a precinct chair after watching, I can't remember his name, the whole precinct strategy thing.
Bannon did that with who pushed that though? I can't remember. It was in your neck of the woods. It was Texas.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So he was talking about the precinct strategy, and that's how I got involved locally. I became a precinct chair in precinct 277 in Williamson County. Kind of saw. At first, I was just kind of seeing who the players are and what's important, that type of thing. And then after about 4 years, I would complain about the politics in Cedar Park. We kind of lost the GOP here. We actually, Williamson County, we lost in the 2020 election. Biden actually won that election.
That's right.
I got a new chair. Her name is Michelle Evans, and we were able to win with the back of having Trump behind our back. So we won it back. But, I was complaining about city politics, and I feel like the guy who goes to the pastor and says, you know what, somebody's really got to do this. And then they finally, 4 people got together and said, you know what, Kevin, you're right. You're the one that should do it. I said, fine. If you were able to do this and this, and that was I needed somebody to help me with my campaign, and somebody be the treasurer. I said, fine. When it comes to time, talent, and treasure, the time I got is evenings and weekends. The talent is, I guess they just knew me and they knew my background. I figured my education experience. And then treasure, I said I have none because I've got a daughter in college and one with special needs. So you guys are going to have to help me with the money. So they helped me get up a website. We just kind of went reverse engineered. And as a friend of Bill Wilson, it's just first things first, and just tried to figure out what did I need to do. I set up a fundraising page. I had a lot of friends still from Chicago that helped me get started. And once I was seen as, hey, this guy's got it together, different more momentum came, and then I was able to get my big signs for the sides of the road, and then the small signs. And then as a precinct chair, I had access to a lot of data, and then helped me get out my, who are my strong Republicans, who are the voters I have to contact, to talk to, and that's because I've been complaining like we got to do something, and I was actually able to put a lot of things into place. So
let me show,
yeah,
let
go
me
ahead.
show people where, I mean, it's really remarkable. I mean, I wanted you to lay out what you did because, by the way, for people who are going to the 1776 Law Center conference, that we will be talking about this a lot. I mean, very impressive what Kevin was able to pull together. These are low turnout elections. There are not that many voters in these areas anyway, but I mean, during these offsite, it's hard to beat an incumbent in these kind of elections. And look at how close you came. This is remarkable. It's for people who can't see, or maybe they're just listening.
I wish
at
you
home.
could send that. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I will. If you want, I'll send it to you. This is the city of Cedar Park, and he was running for council place 4. Okay.
Right.
I mean, you are 39 votes away. That is unbelievable. And of course, when you're looking at 600 and something votes, it's 53-47. It's remarkable.
It's a little further than that because you're just looking at Travis County.
Oh, that's right. I backed it up. I scrolled in, but
there's also Williamson County. So it was actually it was a 42% to 58%. But when you look at how much money, I was outspent 10 to 1.
I got you. I was
outspent 10 to 1.
Yeah. But still is just really incredible, though. I mean, still, that's you put your signs out there, and I'm curious. I wanted to actually ask you about some of the local stuff because in races like this, and so people understand, you didn't have party support, obviously, right? I mean, they obviously were not happy with challenging an incumbent.
There was no. I had a little bit. There was a Leander era Republican. Okay. I got $1,000, and besides that, it was just me trying to talk to other precinct chairs, saying, "Hey, can you help me?" But as far as real money, no. I think I had about $3,500.
Wow.
And then the other side, they're supported by what's the Democrat group? It's called Indivisible.
Oh, you're talking about a committee. Okay.
A PAC is putting they spent like about $100,000 in these 4 little seats, and I think it was around 2,700 votes out of 50,000 registered voters.
Yeah,
that's how they won.
And this is this is something I was going to bring up next, but let's just go there now. We see this. I mean, guys, this is not a blue state. We see this everywhere, though. It doesn't matter if it's red states, if it's blue states. Republicans are out there right now touting their money advantage. And what I mean, this race and many others show is that Democrats, they may have claimed to hate Citizens United, but the fact of the matter is they run circles around us with this ruling. I mean, they are unbelievable. We're still using, which is ironic to me, Kevin, because this is how the RNC keeps, and I hate to say it, but this is how they keep their grifters. There was an announcement today about the ground game they're going to do nationally. This is how they keep these grifters in charge of all this money. They're supposed to be the party of decentralization, and yet their money is very centralized. When it comes to Democrats, that is not the case. And they will spend like crazy through these third-party groups on races on like this. Even Illinois is a great example as well.
Yeah, DuPage County. And
unbelievable. Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm from Chicago. I saw DuPage County. DuPage County used to be one of the reddest counties in the U.S., certainly in Illinois. And then what they did was they strategically went in, got involved in local races, and now they took it over. And because of that, they're able to gerrymander it so ridiculously. And this was, way before Pritzker came in with his millions of dollars.
Way before. And at this point, guys, you can't find a Republican donor group willing to fund a super PAC, even though in DuPage, which is it's like the perfect example. Yeah. There are orphaned, even though they took some of the Mitt Romney Republican voters, there are orphaned working class voters and middle class, even upper middle, but definitely middle and down, voters that have been orphaned from the Democratic Party. We've even pulled lists, done all of this analysis to target these voters. Give them $1 million or something like that to go to town in that part of Chicago and to get those orphan voters from the Democratic Party, and they won't do it. You can't find them to do it. Meanwhile, the Democrats spend millions on these races.
The perfect place to do it is in Southwest Chicago.
That's right.
Your ethnic working class, guys with ski for the last name, a lot of Polish, Italian, Irish working class guys that can't stand all the leftist crap.
And they're not even voting, Kevin, now. They're not even voting, Kevin. They're just done. They don't care because they see the Republicans as not reaching out to them, not trying to establish a relationship. Many of them still view them the Bush way of the Republican Party, kind of like the party of big business. Trump came around. It was the perfect time and opportunity to do that. And they just didn't do it. Meanwhile, they won't vote for Democrats again because they're not Bill Clinton Democrats anymore. Like they would have loved Bill Clinton. They loved Bill Clinton, but not these people.
And there's an opportunity there, especially, even now you've got, so Bailey is not the ideal candidate, but if you do invest in a ground troop, and it's not just this election. That's what I'm finding out. I'm having people call me like, hey, Kevin, you handled yourself when it was during the silly season. As far as you remain calm and positive. I was still knocking on doors Saturday at 6:30 when the polls were closing at 7. I wanted to do what I can, and I met a lot of people. It was a cool experience, but people were coming up to me afterwards like, all right, this may not be your election, but you know who lost their first election as well? Ronald Reagan and Winston Churchill, and they threw out all these other names, which was extremely flattering. But for me, my most important relationship is with God first, and then my wife, and then my kids. And as long as I prioritize those things, these things will fall into place. So
that's what I told. That's interesting you said that, because another thing I'm trying to impress on people is that now you have experience here. You have an idea of how this is done. It is very rare for people, especially at this level, to get in and know exactly what they're doing, meet the right people, get in and just like steamroll an incumbent. That's crazy. That's you have experience now. You conducted yourself well. People remember your name. You build your name ID. You build your network out, because of course, unfortunately, you would agree, money matters.
Oh, absolutely.
Money matters.
They outspent me 10-1. They started earlier. They laid the groundwork. They prepared the earth as far as going out and doing events and having social media and all that type of stuff. They were able to send out 2 mailers. They sent me a mailer. What are they sending me a mailer for? But I saw what they're sending. It's like, gosh, they got money to burn.
They're just blasting them out there at this point, Kevin. I had a friend who, a couple actually. I have several friends that were in government. Many of them lost in 25 in Pennsylvania, and their wives, their friends, Democrats were just bombarding them with literature and even knocking on doors, calling them, and they're like, "Hey, I'm a registered Republican," and they're out there going, "Well, I'd give it a chance." Everyone could change their mind.
Yeah, they did that, but they also had paid block walkers too. Something that I didn't have. I had volunteers, and they were great. They were awesome. And it's just when somebody's going out and they hit the door, they get those 7 touches is what they talk about, right? If you touch somebody 7 times, at least 3, they're more likely to come out. They were able to do that. I wasn't able to do those things, but learning the blocking and tackling of politics and fun. And that's why I love listening to you, because you get the details of all that stuff a lot of times. And you warned me, you probably don't remember this, as far as I said, what do you think of the precinct strategy? And you're like, well, some people get in and they're yahoos and they yell and scream.
Yes, I remember.
You make a lot of problems. So I just kind of quite quiet at first and found out who the players were. And then I found out who were the pains in the asses. And, I was able to, had direct conversations with them, and I would try to do, proper correction, talk to them one-on-one, like, what are you doing? And then after that too, and then I would escalate it. But if I had to. So, but that's where I say, when the party politics, that's where you have your family fights, right? And that's what a lot of what you talk about. It's your family fights. I've got 6 older Irish brothers. I know what a family fight is, believe me. And then But when it comes down to something that's threatened us together, we work together as far as, hey, this is our common thing. And then we got to work together. Right now, there's a primary in Texas. As a precinct chair, I've got people asking me to run or to take a side in the primary. But out of principle, I'm trying to say, I do not want to get involved in the primary because half the people that are in my precinct are going to hate me because I chose one person or the other. And I always talk about we've got to
there's
work
no
together.
point for you to do that right now. And believe me, I always try to take I try to take a side when asked, but where you're at right now,
in my level,
it's what's the risk benefit analysis here? I mean, you're going to hurt yourself beyond what, you know? I mean, so
right.
I want you to, I'm glad you brought up what you said. I want to repeat it, which is that I do remember this conversation. I do remember saying that. And I'm glad you did take that advice to heart, because there has been some really, and I may have even used this in this conversation. There have been, the precinct strategy was a good idea, folks. It was.
Yeah.
But what people didn't understand was how territorial this game can be. And if you just come in and barnstorm, you're likely to make a lot of enemies, and then you can really dishevel your party. We saw this in South Carolina, in several places in South Carolina, the precinct strategy. These people came in, and because a lot of them were not native South Carolinians, there was like the old establishment party there. Many of them were kind of MAGA in some of the parts of the state. And they were, what's the word I'm looking for? They were, resented. They were very resentful that these guys came in. Like,
how was it if they ever got in, would they be able to govern?
That's right. And it's like Horry County, for instance, was, this massive fight. And it's unfortunate because, like, hey, guys, there's a lot of votes there. We can't have these problems. And there were able to be some, before he ran for Senate, Paul Dans, he was like trying to play in his neck of the woods. He was trying to play peacemaker. Well, we don't always have peacemakers everywhere. As we can see with the absence of Charlie, it's hard to find peacemakers.
I think it's a balance, right? So where I live, I'm in a 45-50 or a 48-52 precinct, depending on who, like blue or red. And so that's why I wear green, because first of all, O'Brien is pretty easy. I can get away with the Irish. And I would kid, who hates the Irish? Well, the English, but who likes the English? And then I would try to, more of a down the road. I can't wear red. I can't walk around in MAGA hat in the neighborhood because there are people that I've got to get, but I have to be strategic about it. But that's where my precinct is, right? You might be in a different precinct where you can walk around with a red shirt. So do that, so sometimes tactics they're always going to be different.
Yeah, that's important to know. And Horry County was kind of, however you want to put it, it was based. There was a lot of new people in that example. There was a lot of new people from out of state, a lot of new New Englanders, Mid-Atlantic, who are like fleeing Republicans. And it doesn't get any more MAGA than this. But they were coming in thinking, I want to do good. Their heart was in the right place. It's just that sometimes you step on toes, and we saw it in Charleston as well. I mean, they have the Charleston Club in Charleston, South Carolina. You have very similar groups of people in your neck of the woods. These people have been around for a long time. It's not that they don't appreciate the help. It's just they don't appreciate
coming in and knocking the tables over when you're not going to clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
When
you're not going to clean up afterwards is really the key there, Kevin, because so many don't, you know?
Yeah.
They just don't know.
No. And there's resentment politics only goes so far from what I see. And that it's an open door, and you can get passion as far as, I was very strategic when I sent out some text messages at the end, Republicans who don't vote elect Democrats.
Yeah.
That's what I sent to my hard Republicans. Did I send that out in the first 3 weeks? When
everybody? Yeah.
No. So you got to be, thoughtful about that. But I think we're making a difference, and I think there's a difference that can be made in Chicago. There's a guy that I listen to up there. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Dan Proft, and he talks about a lot of the same things. Although it can get very complicated because, consultants and that type of thing. But his general thing that he would talk about is, the state and the national parties need to get involved in the local politics. Yeah. If this flips, because the demographics might be against us. If it flips here, that Cedar Park goes really, really blue, and then Williamson County goes blue.
Yeah.
They're focused on that because then
Yeah.
they want to do the same thing around San Antonio, same thing
That's-
around Dallas, and then you lose Texas.
Yeah,
And
Fort Worth. Yeah, Tarrant County. They're all over it. They've been all over. I've been screaming about Tarrant County, and unfortunately, there's I want to say there's some schools in the area where they have been for the right, kind of like the tip of the spear, the cultural spear.
Sure.
And a lot of them have basically been infiltrated, and it's worked against them. So you're losing the part of the culture aspect of this. And Democrats, they had setbacks in 24 in places around like Williamson, Tarrant.
Yep.
They had setbacks, but they don't quit. And
No.
they just keep grinding along. And Republicans, look, I'm not trying to like pick it. I'm very happy they announced this thing today, but this is a great example.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin, this is 3 months late.
Yeah,
This is 3 months late, and I'm looking at who's involved, and the smartest, most effective people from 24 are not even part of this plan.
Yeah.
And it's like, Democrats, I don't know. I feel like
I think there's the mentality of Democrats. They're more collectivist.
That's right. Yeah.
They'll work together, and they're going to march in step. Right.
Yeah.
Where Republicans are more individualistic. I mean, there are a lot of egos half the time. I mean, I'm just trying to, hey, can we put our personalities aside and focus on the principles? And
I know.
It's like, let's put away the petty argument of, this guy was rude to you 2 weeks ago at some meeting. Get over yourself.
So true. In fact, apparently that may have been what cost. I was on the phone earlier today with people that it doesn't look like they're going to be a part of this, which is just unbelievable to me. If you don't have Musk's, infrastructure and Charlie's not there, then that leaves one other major group that was super effective. And it looks like it was something corny like this. Maybe we don't know, but like it maybe at one point, someone who's on the peripheral with the group may have slighted somebody the wrong way. And it's like, come guys, are you kidding me? The future of the country is at stake.
Right.
I'm not saying to be a hive mind like Democrats, but for once, put the cause first,
every once in a while, like I said earlier, have your family fight, get out there, and then come to an agreement like, okay, now let's go kick the left's ass.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And it's tragic that we see this as more of a zero-sum game. The ego thing is real. We can just, one of them just tweeted before as if like it was his master grand plan not to waste money in Virginia because he knew the court would side with them. Come on, guys. I mean, this is just ludicrous. Stop the petty nonsense and like the huge egos and put everybody to work, and when everyone feels like they have a stake in it, everyone feels like they have some kind of skin in the game, they work harder, Kevin. They work harder. It means more to them.
And I'm not going to black pill. And I thought of this the other day. You were talking, you do the red pill and the blue pill. What you give is a clear pill. You give a clear pill. As far as these are the facts. I'm not going to sugarcoat it so to make you feel good about yourself. This is what the situation is. You take an inventory of what's going on in the world, so then you can make corrective action. That's what I love about your show and what you do. So
I appreciate that. That means a lot because I mean, people, the dooming, the panicking, the black pill. It's like, to me, I was like this even before the military, and anyone who was in the military should understand why I do what I do. Because you're taking stock of what is going on, the facts of the situation. And if there are issues, you can't just bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and hope they disappear. You have to confront those issues. You have to make an action plan to fix the problem, to course correct. And that's what you do to make the situation better. No problem in life goes away from ignoring it. It's the same with politics. So it just never made sense to me at all, Kevin. It's like you're on the Titanic. Right? Pretend, why would, if the people who were, running the Titanic saw the iceberg coming, they didn't. But if they did, and they had the time to course correct, because I mean, people have studied this know, they saw it too late. Visibility was bad. They were going too fast.
Right.
But in this case, you can see there's the iceberg. Why would you just drive right into it pretending everything's okay?
I
It
think
makes zero sense to me.
a lot of people get too caught up in the what you taught, like the what's the word I'm looking for? Caught up inside of the game. They're in the fishbowl and they don't see what's going on outside of reality.
Yeah.
And you, just your methodology. I took statistics, I had a master's, and I love the way you have your methodology.
Thank you, God.
I think you're a little crass sometimes. I'll admit that. You and I have an issue on one word. That's all right. But you're authentic. You're very, I mean, that's what I get from you. You're like a friend, friends I grew up with, and you just call bullshit on each other. And that's what you're doing. You're actually being a better friend than the one friend who sees somebody who's having might have a problem in one way. Oh, and just being nice to them. And then behind their back say, oh, isn't that all horrible? Rather than confronting him like, what the hell are you doing? And that's what you do, I think, for the Republican or for the movement. That's something that's needed.
Again, I really do appreciate that because I can tell you probably going to be the subject of an attack tweet soon, apparently, and everyone will see what it's about. I don't understand. From my point of view, it's very simple. I'm not the one attacking you here. I'm not your enemy. I'm the only one who has the stones to tell you the truth. They lied to you, like they lied to you. What?
And the incentives, that's what you get underneath as far as these are the incentives. And you get so close to saying who the players are without saying their names. I mean, half the time I don't know what you're talking about, but but you get but people who are closer probably do, right? But
they do. I mean,
you kind of pull the wool off of a lot of people's eyes, and you call bullshit on people, and that's what we're supposed to be about, being true to ourselves and to other people.
Aren't we supposed to be better, Kevin? Like, I mean, honestly, this is the one thing I remember Reagan, even as a child. The one thing that I took a lot out of Reagan, from Reagan, was that you couldn't be a watered down version of somebody else and be effective at convincing people that your way is the better way. You had to be clearly different and mean it and have the conviction. And that's what, I mean, guys, I don't show our ages here, but he's the great communicator for a reason. He had this down. He understood what made people follow you. And he was happy about it. It was definitely, but the Gipper could be quite like me sometimes too. He called bullshit on people too, I mean,
he was funny. I mean,
he did it funny, right?
He had a good sense of humor, and he related to people. I've heard stories. I remember, and I was born in December of '69, right? So I don't think we're that far apart. But I remember hearing stories about he would go up and give just a powerful speech and get people in tears, and then afterwards he would have them on their feet, clapping and cheering, and he gave people hope. And that's something that, just because of the left's hold on the media, it's hard to break through that. Yeah, I call into radio shows because I work from home and it gives me sanity. But anyhow, I was talking to this one guy. Well, what do you think about the Iraq thing? How's that going to play? And what the left is saying about it? I said the left is going to find any fault with anything. If everything was going great, they would find fault with Trump somehow, some way. My concern is what happens after Trump, right? How do we keep a party together? Because when he's gone, and a lot of what you talk in the demographics is, all right, who's in charge now?
Yeah.
Or who's going to be involved now? I think that's a better way. Not who's in charge, but who's involved.
Participation. Yes. Like who will be participating? And I trying to stress to people lately that participation is very, very different than preference. And sometimes preference can trick you into whether or not someone's going to participate or be happy about something when you need them to participate. And COVID was a great example of this. I mean, we could see in preference polling, so many people would say, you know what, if he's got to lock it down, lock it down. But it was not a matter of what they said at that time. It was always a matter of, would they participate later because of the result of this policy, right? And you mentioned before that COVID was big for you. It was central for you. It was huge, right?
It was huge. And I had friends up in Chicago, and I'm down in Texas, so I know their mentality and that type of stuff. It's a different culture. It's a different media environment. I called them and like, hey, I'm up in town, and I was going to visit them. Oh, no, we can't go out. I'm like, we'll go to this place called Johnny's Beef, and we'll stand 6 feet apart, you guys. Come on. But they were so terrified because they've got the constant drumbeat, whereas Texas, we didn't have that constant drumbeat. We broke out of it, maybe not as fast as Florida, but a little bit faster than most places. And that's the great.
Go ahead, finish what you're saying. No, go ahead, finish what you're saying.
I'm saying that's what the left had. The left has such a grip on that, but it shows like this, and that's and podcasts in general that hopefully will break through that. One thing I like, it's one of those shows where it sounds like it's real soft and kind voices, but it's all conservative stuff. It's like the converse to NPR, with the calm voices. Anyhow, I think that the left is, or I'm sorry, I think that the right, and it's the populism thing, are making strides as far as breaking through to change what the main dynamics were for politics. And I think we're in a lot on uncharted course. We don't know what we don't know right now, but it is getting involved in at a local level. And it's just, what can you do within your little circle of influence? And listening to your show, I think you do give a lot of great insight as far as how do the numbers work besides behind politics. You're kind of like the sports center for politics.
Thank you. That's
you get into the nitty gritty, the details. Like, all right, who had an ACL broken when they were a junior in high school? How is that affecting their play today? Anyhow, I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, it's like, look, that's
granular detail. That's the word I was looking for.
Granular is a word I use a lot, right? I mean, so because that's that analogy that you just drew is, I mean, I've thought about that, about that with the direction and the future and growth of the show at some point. What would it look like, or what are the parallels here? And that's, the more granular nature of what we do is what I think does, or I've always hoped is what would set it apart. I just want to back up and just say something real quick before we close out here, which is that what you said is so true. We all should be thinking about this much more. I mean, when Donald Trump is gone, we know this electorate will change very rapidly in the near future. What is going? Can we really rely on one guy holding it all together? I think Charlie is a canary in the coal mine. We can't just expect one person to hold it all together. We all need to put a little bit more effort in, which is why what you did is just, why I really wanted to showcase it, because this is what needs to be done.
I'll appreciate it, and I'll take this opportunity because I do want to run again. O'BrienCampaign.com, OBRYAN campaign.com. I would love to do that, but it's also just to encourage people to get involved, whatever it is. And our most, you and I talked about earlier, our most important relationship with God, and then our spouse, and then our kids. And if we get back to that, I think that's the greatest hope for the U.S. in the future. Your life does make a difference. And
they're building blocks of society the same way they're building blocks of protein. It's all nature to me, and that's exactly right. We get back to those building blocks and we could be okay. It really is. It's not, we sometimes overcomplicate things, and we certainly look towards figures to try to help us out of it, when I think we need to start looking more into ourselves and, our own. This is what the left does. I'm not saying they don't hold up cult of personality sometimes. Of course they do. They did with Barack Obama. Yeah. But they're more, I'm not saying to replace your religion with it, folks, by any means. Right. But it needs more effort. It does. It needs more effort.
That's what I guess what I'm trying to say is my whole ego isn't, this isn't a be all and end all.
Yeah.
This is something that people ask me. I'm like, all right, this is what I can offer. This is what I can do. And I was happy to do it. And, if it happens again, that's great. But I do want to.
Say the site again. Yeah. Say the site again, because.
So it's O'Brien Campaign. You'll see a picture of me and my wife and my two kids. O'Brien Campaign, OBRYAN campaign.com. I actually because I had a meeting with the people that are helping me. I texted them before and I said, do me a favor, because we're going to close it down until the next one, like not host it. I said, just keep it open till Monday. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
But it's something I want to continue to build a Republican Party. And I think a great long-term study would be for you, and we could talk about this later offline. I would love to, as far as doing surveys in Cedar Park. How does it change? because
Yeah.
what happened to DuPage is starting to happen here,
Yeah.
unless some people higher up start getting involved in local politics and helping local races. Otherwise, they're just going to pull the rug out from underneath you, and you're not even going to know that they have their hands on the rug. So.
Yeah, I think we definitely can talk about that more offline. Yeah, I think that Tarrant didn't hear, they didn't want to hear the warnings. I mean, this is something that everybody at the local level really should be doing. Tracking where are your new registrants, how are your recent changers, from one affiliation to the other. Text is a little different, of course, but you can do inference modeling. And then, of course, where these new registrants, where are they coming? These out-of-staters, and how are they voting? How are they voting? Where are they coming from? I mean, they should have
sometimes they bring their politics with them.
And of course,
big companies, the top companies, they're Republican. That's where they're coming here. But what about other employees?
Their employees are killing their neighborhoods. Exactly. We've seen this over and over again. I'm sorry, but Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, you have so many of these Republican governors who think, you know what? These are Republican companies, maybe even the upper echelon of those companies, they're Republican donors. They want to give them the breaks to bring their employment numbers down. But I say this a lot. Economics is politics, guys. It is. You bring in a Nike plant to Phoenix. Don't expect them to pack their plant, don't expect them to pack their assembly lines and their plants with a ton of, working class Republican voters. It's just not going to happen,
And then just the economic shifts is I've got a lot of nieces and nephews. I don't think one of them owns a home because they can't afford the down payment. And then, that's a whole nother conversation, the explosion of 2008 and all that stuff, and how real estate has been ridiculously inflated. So it's and one of the things that one of the shows you were on, he would talk about, all right, it's going to be populism. That's the future. But is it going to be left populism or right populism?
Yes.
And I think that's the big battle here. And,
I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's what, by the way, that's the entire new book is about. We are going to get Mamdani or MAGA. Which one is it going to be? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And we have to come first. I think there are a lot of people in the Republican Party who need to just come to grips with that because they hope it's not true. They don't want it to be true, and they hear all these misnomers. And
I got one anecdote about that.
Go ahead.
So I'm out knocking on doors, and I went to this 50-50 house. It was Democrat and Republican, and the guy gave me the wrong house. So I knock on the door, and a woman comes up, and she's a hard Democrat, right? And she's talking about, I said, well, what do you think about the property taxes? She goes, well, it doesn't bother me because I've got the property tax freeze because I'm over 64.
There you go.
But what about all the other people who have to pay more property taxes? Well, that doesn't affect me. I want to have all the higher density and all that type. I think it's good for us. Yeah, but what about it's talking about a selfish generation.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I saw that firsthand. Beginning in 22, those voices started to get really loud. It's like inflation was terrible under Joe Biden. And as much as people are complaining now, it's still better than it was under Joe Biden, guys. So we would, try to discuss this argument with, especially more educated whites who were older. And they were, in 65 above, they're set, they're good. Very similar. They just didn't care. It's like, well, what about your fellow man? What about your fellow American who's not as privileged or maybe not as doing as well as you? They simply didn't care, Kevin. Right. Like there was no argument to make for them.
Right. One other anecdote. I'm in between two houses going from a hard Republican, another hard Republican. There's a garage door open. You know what? I'll talk to you. No problem.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Kevin O'Brien, I'm running for precinct chair. First thing I want to ask you, are you Republican or Democrat? I said, well, it doesn't matter. It's a nonpartisan race. The only fighting between red and blue should be between who raises more money for a charity, the fire department or a police department.
Yeah.
And a laugh out of that.
That's great.
And then she's like, no, I need to know, are you Republican or Democrat? I said, well, I'm your neighbor. I live right across the street over there. It really doesn't matter. Please tell me. I said, I'm a Republican. She goes, we don't talk to Republicans. And I said, well, that's very open-minded of you.
Yeah.
And the husband yells at me. He goes, you're a pedo lover. And I was like, dude, I just met you. What are you yelling at me for? But that issue was out there. A pedo lover, like a pedophilia lover.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
You love Trump. I said, I never said that. I said, I'm a social libertarian, which I am. I mean, my Catholic faith is very important to me. It's gotten me through the death of two sisters, and a daughter with special needs, all that type of stuff. But what two people do a half an hour before they go to bed is not the government's problem. That's between them and their higher power, right? I mean, I have my own personal beliefs, but
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think you know that. It was never
yeah,
my hill to die on. I just knew too many different people, family,
yeah,
friends, people I grew up with. Now, do I personally like it? Do I approve it? Do I think it's the best way to live your life? No, but
no,
I'm not sure where God says you're supposed to judge for yourself. You know what I mean? I'm pretty
right,
sure that's his job, so that's just the way I've always been.
right,
Um, but I think it goes to show you though the environment we're in that you still got that kind of interaction, even though you're running a nonpartisan race.
yeah.
You just
Oh gosh, I mean the veins were popping. I feel like I'm talking like Biden. The veins were popping out of his neck, but they were. This guy was.
But in this environment, though, you still did incredible. I mean, that's the
Oh,
thing. I mean, you still did incredible. It's really impressive performance for, especially with somebody this is their first time in a national mood like this. Because
yeah,
I've spoken to tax collectors, nonpartisan tax collectors who had to run for, been in that office forever, and they
yeah.
were trying to campaign and shake the hands of people that they have known for years, and they got the same thing that you got. Hey, wait a minute. I never asked you. Are you a Republican? You support Trump in the Epstein class? It's like, whoa, I'm a tax collector. I'm your local tax. I live up the road from you. I
Yeah.
see you in the grocery store every day. Like, calm down. Like this is the environment we're in.
Yeah, that was just the one hard. I mean, two the hard days, but I think overall, most people aren't paying attention to local elections, and I do think that if I had more money and had more
Yeah,
runway, that I could win. And what I
I
wanted
agree.
to rebuild a Republican Party in Cedar Park, because I saw what happened to DuPage, and I think that would be a great long-term study for you to look at. So,
Yeah.
thank you so
Oh,
much for having me on the show. I know we could probably keep talking and talking.
yeah, it's time for Q&A, but I really am so glad you came by to talk about this because it's this is what you did is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably going to have to face the reality of this sooner rather than later.
I think we're
But
gonna hit it with a 2x4 come November, unfortunately.
I think so too.
You know,
I mean, I've
you get a
tried
tap
so
on the
hard.
shoulder and maybe a nudge. We're gonna get a hit with a 2x4. And one other thing, I
Tried,
want to
brother. I have
sincerely,
tried.
I loved how I like how you talked about your struggle with addiction. As I alluded to earlier,
Yeah.
I would say I would have one or two, but sometimes I'd be out until one or two, possibly the
Yeah.
next afternoon. And for anybody who is struggling, it's you choose your battles. I love drinking. I had a lot of fun, a lot of time, but it came to the point where it wasn't serving me anymore. So I
Yeah.
tried a new place, a new way to live. So that means a lot to me as far as you're open
Yeah.
on that.
You
So
get sick and tired of being sick and tired, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely.
that's it. And that's I don't see I never liked the attacks that we always saw on like Biden's son with that. What made America First so appealing to America is that they really were willing to get in the trenches and talk about these issues that
Right.
Americans struggle with, average Americans are dealing with. They may not be them, but maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a loved one, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a coworker. This is the reality of average Americans'
Yeah,
lives,
and
and this
suicide too. You mentioned that too.
it was
You had buddies
so
like that. It
yeah,
affects
it's a
people's
real
lives,
thing.
and that you know,
Yeah,
it's hard. But I just want to reiterate that you're not alone. Ask for help.
that's
Uh,
right. It's
you
a good
know,
message.
it doesn't mean you're a bad guy. It just means, hey, this doesn't work for anymore. But I do want to say this on the 100
That's
bike.
right.
Just because you sober a horse thief, what do you have after that? You just have a sober horse thief.
Sober horse thief. That's so true. There's a lot more. That's usually just the beginning step for most people.
That's
That's
right.
just usually the beginning of the journey. And then there's a lot more. There was with me, a lot more to go,
Oh, yeah.
but God, it's
Always.
been coming up on 20 years now almost. I mean, it's incredible.
It's
Yeah.
17. It should be 30, but I had a slip. It was a long one. Anyhow.
Yeah, well, you are not alone. I mean,
Yeah.
this is for those of us who know, this is very common. I think he was close to 30 in. I think he was. And we all have moments of weakness and we can regress or backslide in this case, what we call it, and it's just important to know that just because you did, it doesn't have to be the end again. And
Right.
you go through it, you just start again,
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
one,
It's
and
not how
move
many
forward.
times you fall down, it's how many times you
How many
stand.
times you get up? It's exactly right. Isn't that the American story anyway? I mean,
Yeah.
my God, I tell people this all the time. They'd be surprised to hear this. Wyatt Earp was an alcoholic and a horse thief, and he
Yeah.
was a criminal. This is the greatest lawman in the American West, and this is the American story. You know, he went and he sobered up, started new, and became the guy we know today. Nobody knows Wyatt Earp, the horse thief. They know Wyatt Earp, who is the famous lawman and the mythical bulletproof survivor of the
Yeah.
Battle of the OK Corral, baby. That's what they know.
Yeah.
And
We're the
that's the
nation
American
of second
story.
chance. Yeah, we're the nation of second chances.
That's
So
exactly right. That's exactly right.
thank you
Well,
again, Rich. I
thanks,
don't want to take
Kevin. Take
more of your
care.
time.
That's okay. That's all right, man. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks. You too.
Take care. Kevin
Right.
O'Leary, Kevin O'Brien, everybody. Man, that is like something right there. Listen, it's Brian with a Y, by the way. Go check his campaign out. You know, I mean, we need more people to do this. What he was saying about DePage, he saw it firsthand. I have similar. I'm a native New Yorker, as many of you people know. You know how heartbreaking it is to think back on Westchester, for instance. You look at the map in New York now, and some of these places were just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the Hudson River Valley, no matter how much, I'm a Southerner now, and I've been a Southerner for almost 2 decades, but the Hudson River Valley is, oh my God, it has been 2 decades, hasn't it been, Laura? I think so. But anytime I still go back there, especially during the fall, which I love because the leaves change and they're gorgeous. It just still feels like home. And I just don't let that happen to your home. Don't let that happen to your adopted home. It's tragic. Okay, let's get to it's 7:20. Let's get to some of the questions. Man, that was cool. It was a great conversation. Let's start with the Rumble rant. Andrea, GOP called me today for a donation. Told them absolutely not. When will the money be going against Massie? Yeah, when the money will be going against Massie. I told them to stand with Massie. Oof, that must have burned. Woo! Listen, I just don't see the point of this. I love the president as a guy, even though I know I'm about to get whacked. I love the president as a guy. And I don't think he's thinking clearly about this. And I think that he's got a lot of advisors, and not a lot, there's a handful of them, who are going to make millions of dollars off all those television ads that Miriam Adelson paid to run on behalf of Ed Galrin and the rest of Israel First paid. All he's doing is making a fat slob even fatter. And it's not to the benefit of him. Many of his own voters feel that he's look, I'm not going to make a repeat episode of Tucker's episode with Massie. I think you guys need to watch it because if you're unsure how much this could cost Donald Trump and you think everyone's just going to blindly follow Donald Trump down this path, it's like there's a reason why Republicans are shrinking. They're not. Okay. Donald Trump's genius was that he built these wide breadth coalitions. And I swear he's acting as if he's intentionally trying to destroy it or test the boundaries of it, right? By the way, let me just say real quick, Burn It Down, links in the description. Go get it if you haven't already. That is what Kevin said, what Kevin O'Brien said about we're going to get, left-wing or right-wing populism. He's 100% correct. It's either MAGA or it's Mamdani. That's the bottom line. By the way, wait until you see in Burn It Down how many people voted for Donald Trump and also voted for Mamdani. And some people will look at that number and just be like, you know what? That doesn't seem like that much. Well, try to apply that percentage to various other races and watch it crush your coalition. Destroyed. The same way that Democrats thought, oh, we don't have to worry about those stupid white working class people in the Ohio River Valley. Not a big deal. But it was a big deal, wasn't it? 31 counties in Iowa alone. Gone. Despite Rui Teixeira screaming at the top of his lungs, you can't do that! My thesis is going down the drain. And he said eventually it will expand to other working class demographics, which it, of course, did. And now we're regressed. Unfortunately, we have regressed. Wilmer, Rich. Hi, Rich. Need a voir dire. How do I contact you? Ooh, are you not on locals, right? That's a good question. I'm going the best way. I was trying to give you the most direct way. I just can't spout my personal email right here, unfortunately, because if I do, it will be spammed to Kingdom Come. So do me a favor and go to this right here. Let me make sure it's working correctly. I think we just redid it and it's cool. It's like simple, easy, to the point. Yeah, there it is. Go to the contact on Big Data Poll. Boom. I'll put it in the YouTube and fill out that contact form, and it's going to forward to Laura, who will then forward it to me. All right. You say exactly that, and we'll get in contact with you. I love Wardy. I love it, love it, love it. Look, I love polling still politically, of course, but it does get a little bit depressing. But it does, but it also gets a little monotonous. I mean, how many times do you approve or disapprove of the job so and so was doing? That is very interesting work to me, and I love it. I love it. I really do. Especially since now we've gotten to the point. Some judges don't like to give, for people that don't know what he's talking about. Some people don't like to give a whole lot of time, some judges, and some do for jury research, really. And you have to be quicker in figuring out information about people. If the Tards would end the Iran war, they could win. Certainly at this point, we're at least talking about damage mitigation. There's just no argument to continue this. Everybody knows it's a complete abject failure. All right? Everybody knows it. Stop pretending you've won. You haven't. You didn't come. Okay, for those who say, oh, we won, we did win. What objective have you accomplished? And by God, if you tell me the nuclear program, I'm going to lose my mind. What nuclear program? The one that was supposedly decimated last year? The Ayatollah had a strict policy. He had a fatwa out. Actually, the IRGC actually listened. There was the kind of carrot stick. We'll be right up to the point where we could build one. We have the knowledge to build one. We have some material, but we're not going to build one. All you did was kill the guy who was keeping that policy in place. You literally accelerated how fast Iran is going to get a nuclear weapon, because of course they are. We're not sending an army to root out the rest of the IRGC. Trump doesn't have the political capital to do it anymore. He could have done it when he was doing like speed rolling through, but it would have been the wrong decision to do. There's just no reason. By the way, I just want to point out something today. Do you guys see what I tweeted on X earlier today? All right, so Trump comes out, and it honestly pisses me off when they use the UAP issue to trick people. All right. The other day, talking to a certain congressman who's been very good on the UAP issue. And I kid you not when I tell you that Congress has intel that there are literally whatever is running these UAPs, which I'm just going to blow your mind right now and tell you they absolutely do believe are extraterrestrials. You may not want to believe that. That's on you. You're going to have to tackle that yourself. But I'm telling you, the government believes they're extraterrestrials. There is a faction in the Defense Department, or now the Department of War, who is they're like evangelicals and fanatics. And I consider myself an evangelical, so I'm not making fun of evangelicals. You know the specific ones I'm talking about. And they certainly do believe that this is more of a spiritual thing. I kid you not. They don't want to study them because they believe you don't give the devil any attention, and they think they're demons. I'm not joking. I kid you not. I know it sounds crazy, but I kid you not. In anywho, whatever they are, the government believes that there are at least two large bodies of water. Of course, I'm referring to specific oceans where they are there. They're like under the water, because these crafts can move in what kind of terrain is it? It's called, there's a name for it, trans-terrain. So they can just go in the water, unlike how we can. It's easy for them. Right? Because, of course, they're creating what appears to be its own gravitational field around the craft, and they go, whatever. I'm like, it's crazy, I know. But there was a new video released today by the White House. And there are a lot of people who do want Trump to come out and say, listen, just tell the American people. They're ready. Just tell them. including Republican congressmen, which has been really cool because these are, and one of them specifically, I'm not going to blow him up. I'll let him blow himself up, but not. I think he's not going to blow himself up. I think he's going to be like the coolest congressman ever when everyone realizes what he's done. I think this could help rebrand the Republican Party as not a bunch of like religious fanatics, but more open-minded people, because there is a branch of religious fanatics. But in any event, I'm thinking this and I'm listening to it, and I take the UAP issue seriously. I think at the very least, the things that I have seen and some of the government reporting that I have seen it concerns me at the very least, because something is going through our military airspace without concern that we can do anything about it. Like, it's very, very serious, guys. They're turning off nuclear weapons at will whenever the hell they want. I'm not kidding. They're reactivating them, deactivating them, pointing at Russia, taking Russia's, pointing them at us, deactivating them, playing around. They're playing games. We're a freaking joke to them. It's not funny. I've also seen footage of things moving through military bases in the Middle East like it's nothing, and you can't see it with the naked eye, but it is there. And those of you who know, maybe you watch my interrogation on the behavior panel, I have witnessed things myself that I was talking to Jack Posobiec about this earlier today. Like, Jack, maybe some are unmanned things. There aren't any beings in there. But one thing that I saw was so massive. Like, why would AI, or why would you create an unmanned vehicle this large? Like, it was massive. It was a city. It was huge. And it could literally just disappear because of the technology and how it propels itself. It actually isn't disappearing. It's still right there. It just bends light, and you think it's disappearing. All right. Anyway, I know this is going crazy, Jillian, but bear with me. They put out this crap today on X, and I couldn't help but to think to myself that they don't really think before they post this stuff, do they? So here they are. You have Congress telling people there are things in our oceans, and they're observing us, and we're under some kind of freaking observation scope and have been for thousands of years. And Trump releasing this footage of military footage, catching what appears to be some kind of like rocket-shaped craft. It's flying at a ridiculous rate of speed. And then there's this one, let me see if I can actually pull it up real quick, guys. Testimony. It is an FBI interview. So it's literally an FBI 302, which is what they write up when they interview. And they're interviewing a senior U.S. intelligence official regarding an account that they have with the UAP. Which, what they're describing in this 302 sounds like something called the Legacy Project. That is the new name of their the CIA runs it, but there's like contractors, defense contractors, the U.S. Air Force, and the Department of Energy, and there's a reason why each of them have a role in this. The Department of Energy has a separate classification for a top secret, which the penalty to leak information is death. That is different than any other branch, okay? The U.S. Air Force, of course, has been in charge of this shit since Roswell, apparently, if you believe the lore. Because it was the Army Air Force at the time, and they took over a lot of this other stuff. Plus, the Air Force is a technology. And then you have defense contractors. Why? Because the defense contractors aren't subject to FISA. So you can ask all you want about the crash recovery team that what's his name was on, Dave Grosh, and they're not going to believe it. All right. So where am I going with this? If they want us to believe there are aliens in the ocean observing us, and then they're all over our military bases, do you think it was wise to let a bunch of religious fanatics or faux religious fanatics, charlatans, start a war with the fake pretext of stopping an evil regime from being able to obtain a nuclear weapon, or in other words, to harness the power of the atom? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's unserious, and this issue is worth more than that. You asking to be exterminated? I would love to see that conversation between whatever, I don't know, well, give me some reptilian, Nordic, grayling, whatever. Look at these stupid idiots. Look at these morons. They know we're here, and they're acting like this. Let's just nuke them. We're just like stupid. And the worst thing about it is, I was talking to a friend military guy too, earlier today. And the scariest part about it is that the evidence, let me exactly how I want to make sure I get this right. And this is the saddest part about it, which is that we know these people, we know how they operate. And unfortunately, we know that their inaction isn't evidence that the threat isn't real. They're just that incompetent. They're just that stupid. They're just that corrupt. They're just that cowardly. They're like paralyzed. Our government is in a state of paralysis and has been for a while. They're paralyzed to meet the challenges that we face. So we can't take their inaction or their unserious handling or posturing towards this issue and that the threat isn't real, because they're just that bad. They're just that terrible. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I know I went off the rails here on this, but just think what I'm saying for a second. And actually, I don't know if you saw what I tweeted, but I mean, I could read it verbatim so I get my point across. Just think about this for a second, folks. All right. Marinate on this for a second. If we're being observed by superior species who may in fact be hiding in our oceans and observing us, then how stupid was it to allow fanatics and charlatans to start a war? Like, are you trying to get us exterminated? Because presumably, if they're smart enough to travel between the stars, they're not stupid enough to believe the slop, that we're just the good guys stopping the evil regime from getting the power of the atom. Shut up. You know what they would look at us as? Well, aren't you the only ones who use the power of the atom? Please. It just doesn't make any sense. Thank God. Thank God. They're very, clearly, if they're out there, they're lenient. And thank the Lord for that, because I don't know, man. I don't know. If you were an alien species and you observed us and you were a superior alien species, then just consider that for a second. What would you do with us? Mark Mitchell Ransom Fund, Rocket Boy just sent that over. What is going on in South Carolina, Rich? Can Lynch still pull this off? Looking grim on Cauchy. Let's take a look on Cauchy and real quick see what it is. Cauchy is going to look grim because he's an incumbent. I haven't polled it recently myself, and I did notice there was a poll on the South Carolina governor race, but unfortunately, they did not poll the Senate race. Mark Lynch is at 15%. Lindsey Graham is at 87%. I haven't polled it recently. I will tell you, though, the last good polling that I did see had Lindsey fall. The last time I polled it, I did see Lindsey falling. He did get above 50 at one. He did. And then he was falling again. And then on that trajectory, Mark Lynch, I believe he did make it public, so I probably can't talk about it. But I do know, polled it for Mark Lynch. Of course, I trust him. It's our friend Mark Mitchell. And there might have been something we were going to do with them, so I didn't poll it again. And I didn't want to have a conflict of interest. But he was only Graham was at like 40%, 43%, 40%. So he has to get 50 or better. Otherwise, he'll be forced into a runoff. And I think if he's forced into a runoff, he's in deep trouble. So I think it's better than, what do they got him at? 15? I think Mark Lynch's odds are better than 15%. Yes, he's an incumbent. It's tough. It is. But this war has hurt Lindsey Graham bad. And he knows it, which is why he's on Hannity begging for money. Did you guys see it? I mean, Lindsey Graham was on Hannity begging money. Let's see if I can find that. Lindsey, Hannity, begging. I bet you I can find it. OJ mocks Lindsey Graham for crying on Hannity and begging people to send Trump money. Yo, can we show this real quick? Because OJ made fun of you, bro. That's pathetic.
The strangest thing I seen this past week was Lindsey Graham crying on TV.
He was
begging people to send money to a billionaire. Now, sending him money.
Well, he wasn't asking him to send him to a billionaire. He was asking him to send it to him. Like, let's see if we can find Hannity. That's top, latest. I don't know what she has to do with it. Why is there always no matter what you do, there's always these same people? Lindsey Graham, I'm getting overwhelmed. Help me. They're killing me. Help me. Oh, yeah, he was doing this in 2020. Here it is. and that's not it. Although I think that is the interview. That was the interview when he was crying. I made fun of him for it, so it's probably on my Twitter feed. Hold on, let's see. Profile, let's share. Let's go to the search thing. Graham. By the way, I actually do understand what Tucker was saying. It is true, you know. Oh, look, you got a community note. Graham says, I've been helped at every step. But in 2015, Graham called Trump a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. In 2016, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. Don't forget about 2020. Uh-oh, Mr. President. Did they forget to tell you this? Did Chris forget to tell you? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe the first time you're hearing it, that Lindsey Graham was sitting in my friend's dad's living room telling him to just let you die in obscurity. Yeah, 100%. You were bad for the brand, dude. You had to go. I'm absolutely happy we're going to get back with Biden. Yep. We got to return to normal. Fix this party. Where's my boyfriend? I'm not kidding. Think I'm kidding? Do something about it. Well, we all know he stole that election. Got to get back to my boyfriend now. Get back to normal. Think I'm kidding? Not kidding. President calls. I'll tell him exactly what donor I'm talking about. I'll tell him exactly. I think I have the day still. I think I could pinpoint the day Lindsey Graham was there at the house saying that. Yup.
I'm in a fight. I need your help. I hate to say this, but I've been outraised twice by Democrats. Please go to lindseygraham.com and help me if you can. I've been with President Trump at every step. I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee when we did Kavanaugh. You remember that. I've been there with him. I think he's been a great president. He makes us safer. He makes us more prosperous. The Democrats have money. I don't know where they're getting all this money. But
this is the thing. I don't know where they're getting all this money. Do you see how stupid they are? And yet you have his main advisor and his super PAC out there touting that they have so much more money than Democrats. They don't even understand how Democrats have their money structure set up. They're idiots. These are dumb people. They're not smart. How about this, Lindsey? Stop fucking drinking so much. Put that into your own damn campaign. Fucking slob. You know what, South Carolina? You renominate this guy. Look, I'm going to throw Jefferson at you. The government we elect is the government we deserve, dog. All right? Sick of it. Really am. Trump actually said that gas is down. Yes, sir, he did. I almost fainted. And I had like 5 political strategists message me, is this for real? Did this guy really say this? And what is this guy doing? Is he trying to lose? Yeah, he actually did say Trump is down. While the other day, he actually said that it was worth it to have gasoline $300 a barrel. And now today, gas is down. This is crazy. Amos Siskin said, this is a big part of the problem. Trump is so dumb that he doesn't understand something so basic as the difference between the price of a barrel of oil and a gallon of gas. He has never filled up a gas tank in his life. There may be something to that. Like, Trump is not a dumb person economically. Come on, let's be real. But there may be something to the fact that there's a lot of his followers too who spout and they're not his followers. They're wannabes. The Bill Mitchell bailed on Donald Trump, dude. As soon as he could, he was gone. He was up DeSantis's ass, dude. So far, doctor thought rectum damn near killed him. Okay. These guys are such cons, and he doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground either. He doesn't have any idea about markets or the economy. Guy doesn't know his asshole from a hole in the ground. Well, this is the retailers are just gouging now. The price of the barrel is this. Okay, well, you do realize that there is something called a supply chain, and the daily barrels, the price of daily oil, especially when manipulated, doesn't immediately affect the price at the gas pump, and that retailers absolutely have no margin. There is no margin. They can't gouge if they wanted to gouge. Dumbasses. But there may be something to this. And this is, I'll play the clip. It's got to be played. Thornton brought it up. It's got to be played. Only fair, dude. Only fair. Here it is. Oh, God, Thornton. Let's go.
They asked us not to do it during the negotiation.
Are you considering maybe going back to that now that gas prices are more than $4.50?
Well, no, gas prices have come down today. Have you looked? they've come down very substantially today. The gas prices, you know what's happened today? Gas prices are way down, and the stock market is way up today. So gas prices have come down, and
Fucking stock market talking point. Oh my God. Do I have to go through the math again? Have I not done this enough? I thought I have done this enough. Like, I've even sent it to the White House. This is how many of your voters actually have money in the market. The economy is real. The market is fake. Okay? Your voters don't have diversified portfolios, Mr. President. And in fact, that statement wasn't even true. In fact, it wasn't. The national average U.S. gas price currently $4.56 a gallon. It has risen this week, not declined. And that is because of what I told you about supply. I'm not going to redo the show, but the exact day that the last barrel that arrived, that was shipped before the strait was closed, had arrived. And that was when the shock was going to take place. By the way, we're not even in the driving season yet. We're entering the driving season. So this is concerning to me. The man is losing his mind. I live in South Florida and it's up everywhere. Who's advising him? I mean, at this point, brother, I wish I could give you a good answer. The truth is, a lot of people, I think it's unfair to just like throw it all on the advisors. It's Trump, man. People will tell him 5 minutes before, whatever you do not go out there and say affordability is a hoax. And he'll be like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, you're right. And then he'll go out there and be like, affordability is a hoax. And everybody's like, oh my God. I mean, the day I was there, they were talking about Venezuela and the media. There's this meeting with oil executives at the White House, and they want to talk about healthcare before it. And I'm like, just don't answer any questions about Venezuela. If they ask you, just say, we're here to talk about healthcare. Yeah, you're right. Mr. President, about Venezuela. Well, let me tell you about Venezuela. I'm like, fucking kidding me. It's true. And believe it or not, again, I'm not on like the Susie train here, but like it must be frustrating to be Susie Wiles sometimes, because she's oh Lord, I don't know. I haven't polled to myself, but it's going to be hard. You know, Byron Donald's probably there's no doubt Fishback is getting some ground here, but I don't know what we planned on doing. I waited too long to eat or something. I'm hungry again, and I'm going to have to go. Yeah, I know. I'm going to have a protein shake and something else, some other form of protein. I don't know. Yes, my gorgeous, precious baby bird. What's up?
I kept trying to get into StreamYard, and it no likes me.
Are you using Chrome?
Mm-hmm. It's like asking.
I think your laptop's cooked, baby. I think we have to bring that to Best Buy and have them transfer whatever you got onto whatever new laptop we're going to get you. That thing is old, baby. Even this thing is old now. And this is fairly new. This is just the way it is, unfortunately. Well, my laptop still works for me. You just need a new one. And if we keep doing that, then you're always going to get my hand-me-downs. Yeah, I know you are. But what the hell is Mitchell? Oh, where the hell is Mitchell? Stay tuned, Jared. No comment. Let me see if I can. I think I can find Mark Mitchell. Hold on 1 second. Are you ready? I think I can find Mark Mitchell. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on now. Okay. I think I can find Mark Mitchell. All right. Hold on. Let me see. Is this Mark? Oh, can't I get this bigger though? Let me see. I don't want it's such a small image. Let me see something. Hold on, guys. Let's see if I can find good old Mark. Oh, I think here he is right here. Hold on. Is that him? There he is. Where is it? This is Mark. There he is. There's Mark. I found him, ladies and gentlemen. He's a hostage in a tub, duct taped. Yeah, don't worry. That's not going to last forever. Don't you worry, guys. We're sending in Delta soon. On again, off again. Alcoholic is currently on again. Man, I am tired of being sick and tired. Thank you. Also seems wrong. Certain fat lords who brag about being bailed out by Virginia SC hold this much unelected power. The Virginia Supreme Court. By the way, brother, one day at a time, just, try to go to sleep and get a cup of coffee, find a meeting, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to go, but they helped me, they did. Do I go all the time now? No, but it's been 20 years almost, and, so give who a call. It's got to be time to pick that old sponsor up. Maybe you do it yourself, and it's hard. There's a rare percentage of the population that can do that. Of course, I do suggest a program because, first of all, I'm a believer, not just in the program. I'm a believer in a higher power, and there's a reason why. I mean, it works, and there's a reason why a higher power is at the center of it. Because when we try to do something on our own, it there's divinity in us, but we're not divine. And when we try to do something on our own like this, it definitely shows. And there's nothing wrong with recognizing that he's there to help. So yeah, I get it, and I even get why people can end up in that position right now, bro. I mean, shit is depressing right now. I mean, it is. This is why, another reason too, why I was so against COVID. I was worried about so many people I know, whether it's drugs or alcohol. Just there was nothing else to do. And, there was no way to even quantify deaths of despair and the suffering. That's why I don't want to hear about the hantavirus. I don't want to hear about it at all. I'm not kidding. And that's the shame, because that's the damage they did here. Because God forbid there is a real pandemic, not a fake ass one that targets one tiny small sector of the population that they unleashed on the globe just to get Donald Trump out of office.
Well, first it was mosquitoes that kill babies in your womb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was mosquitoes that kill babies in your womb. And then it was COVID. They came that came the bees, the killer bees.
And then
the birds. And then, yeah. They said, I really don't want to hear about hantavirus at all. And that's sad, because I think a lot of the population is like me. And then one day something is really going to be bad and no one's going to believe them. And that's what they've done. That's the damage they've done. It is wrong. It is. And I think everyone knows who Dallas is referring to here. And Grace Chung's tweet is hilarious, which is a quote by Bannon. And it's 100% correct what Grace quote tweeted him, because she's like, aha, we're all the people who made fun of us now for not. As if your dumb fat ass knew the Supreme Court in Virginia was going to toss out redistricting. You had no idea, bro. Shut up, bro. You had no idea. Does the president know you take credit for him winning the election? Does the president know that without you, he would never be elected? Have you attacked any drug addicts lately? That's a good winner. That's a winner. Have you attacked any rebounded, recovered, prosperous drug addicts lately? Fucking clown.
What's the point, though?
It's just an idiot. You're totally killing. It's not only that. It's like, well, that's number. That you're right. Exactly. By the way, Mark Lynch's testimony, man, in that tweet was amazing. And secondly, it's that. It also shows, you know what? The right is a bunch of fraudulent Christians, fake ass redemption lovers.
I'll let you get away with
Yeah, I mean, that's true, And then third, that's just not America. I'm just going to go through this again. Like, that's the whole appeal of MAGA. They actually cared about real problems of real people. They weren't judgmental, stupid, big cons like Eric Erickson. I'm such a Christian. And then, I'm not. I mean, this is why America hated the Republican Party for so long. Bush killed it with that kind. And he tried to rebrand it, if you guys are old enough to remember this, because it already had that party of big business. They don't empathize with your problems at all. It already had that. And he rebranded it into compassionate conservatism and cared only about the nation's problems. We're not going to be the world's police. That's why he was mocked by that movie, World Police. You remember that? America, F yeah. We're like, wait a minute, you loser. Didn't you say we can't be the world's policeman? Now we have to worry about the quality of life of every individual around the entire globe while our own country suffers. Such a crock. And he's supposed to be America's first real evangelical president. Yeah, okay. You can only be pro-life if you care about little dead Arab babies too. Okay?
Peacemaker and unifier.
Not to, I know. What happened to Unifier and Peacemaker? His wife wrote that shit. Can we just say that? Can we say that? That came from Melania, dude.
And it was brilliant.
Now we know. Now we know. They are transing the terrain now. That's from before, if you guys weren't paying attention to the conversation before. They're transing the terrain. They are terra-transing, bro. We all have to worry about the aliens in our ocean terra-transing. Not sure of demons, but considering Native Americans, right? We should leave them be regardless. Contact doesn't go well for the weaker party. You know what, Gillian? It's we're acting the way we're acting, right? Listen, there's actually this story, which I don't know, 100% true. I mean, the whistleblower definitely is credible. And basically, like, there was some sort of contact and relationship and exchanging. Like, pretty sure the U.S. government was letting them take some of you in exchange for shit. Okay.
Just don't take these families.
Not like we could have done anything anyway, but like apparently something happened, according to this guy, where like it broke contact. What year was it? It was like 60 something or 70, 60 something. Eisenhower apparently had some deal. And like, yeah, in the 70s, they broke, it was like 76. We just heard this. We just heard this testimony. And they broke contact, and like they said, like, we will reestablish it soon at one point. But like, I'm race to do that either anymore, right? At this point, if this is true, let's say this is true. I'm not sure we should race to do that either, brother, because I'm not sure we've proven we're really good in the last 50 years since then, and it's been like almost exactly 50 years.
Sorry, 54 Eisenhower.
He made the deal, and it was 60. Okay, so more than 50 years it's been since they broke it off. And they said they'll be back. I'm not sure we want them to be. We haven't done the UFO poll in a while. Oh, yes, we did. We did it. We did it for the year last year, didn't we? Yeah, it's like toward the end of the year or something. We do the UFO poll. Yeah,
it comes with the Christmas poll.
It was like weird. Republicans were like driving the increase in belief, and that's of course totally backward. But I think a lot of this is because, like, not for nothing, and I don't like Marco Rubio. You guys know I don't like him. He's a chameleon. He's the worst kind of politician. But he does take this issue very seriously. He believes it. He does. I can tell you. He legitimately believes it. Of course, he's looking for any excuse to pump up the military-industrial complex, but he does believe it. And he's concerned, badly concerned, because he's seen things. Look, this thing looked like one video that I have seen, guys. This thing looked like something straight out of Star Wars. There were tentacles and shit falling behind it. It was clearly mechanical, but there was like, but it was mechanical, but like they were like mechanical tentacle looking things. This thing had no ability to be aerodynamic. It was the weirdest shape. And like, it just moves its way through the military base. There, you can actually even see a soldier. It's in Iraq. You can see a soldier smoking a cigarette. He's taking a break, and he's just out there with his like, M4. He's got it like this, smoking. And this freaking thing just right past him. You can only see it in a certain spectrum. It just went right through the military base. And I know Rubio wigged over that video when he saw it. He was like, you can't even see them. What the hell are we going to do?
Get more water. Drink more water.
Drink more water, Marco. Take a sip of water. Calm down, Marco. Take a sip of water. But he is good people when it comes to this issue. He is. And there's been some really great ones. And I think you guys probably know some of them I refer to, which I am referring, because some of them have been very public about their belief in it. But I hear you, man. It's probably not the smartest thing to do in the world at this point. And yes, Laura, I do still want to meet them. I don't want to go to if that's what it is, I don't want to go to my grave without knowing that shit. I really don't. I don't. What we saw that night in the sky, I want to know what built that thing. That was a floating city, honey. That wasn't a craft. That was what appeared to me like they came into the atmosphere with like a piece of their civilization. That thing was crazy.
Uh-huh. And so are those big, beady, animalistic predator eyes.
The praying mantis jammies.
All of them are
actually
meat eaters.
How do you know?
'Cause of
Forward-looking
their
eyes. Yeah, that's the problem, guys. Just so you understand what we're saying here, like this is just basic like anatomy and basic like animal kingdom stuff. Even the little ones, right?
Uh-huh.
The little ones, like the Roswell little ones, okay, like they have forward-looking eyes. Predators have forward-looking eyes in the animal kingdom. So I don't know. I'll probably hold one away like this with one hand.
Uh-huh.
And be like,
Until it locks you up and they eat you and go,
no, but they got friends.
Yes. They're like,
And they got
ants.
tech, you know? They got tech. They'll be like, yeah, you think it's funny? You hold me back by my head, by my big old noggin? You think it's funny? Well, check out what I got in my belt. Blaster! And I'm vaporized.
Tenderize you so they can eat you.
Me like look like I got hit by Homelander. Smack. You guys watch The Boys. It's basically a complete making fun of the right. That's what The Boys is. The Soups are all like fanatical Christians who believe that God has made certain humans with superpowers because they're morally better and they're like patriotic Americans. And of course, it's like the big bad corporation, you know, behind it all. Homelander's a nutcase who was grown in a petri dish, you know. I mean, and there's all of these, and of course, the big pastor of the super church, that's a part, like the major part of it, is closet gay and a soup himself. It's like, you know, you got Pastor Jeffries and shit running around, and it's like, it's too easy to make fun of us, guys. It's too easy to make fun of us, especially when people come out like, God wants us to kill them Palestinians. God wants us to purge the land of Israel's enemies. Bro, you need to stop purging your backside with your boyfriend that you're hiding from the world. All right? Worry about purging that before you purge whole groups of people.
Come out of the closet.
Just come out. You're humiliating yourself. Stop it, dude.
Everybody knows.
Everyone knows, bro. Everyone knows. Okay? You're humiliating yourself. It's ridiculous. And then you preach to others about your moral righteousness. It's just ridiculous. Son of a Mitch, finally some good news in Utah. We might be able to throw out the congressional map. That's right. After the Supreme Court justice resigned after it came out, she had a relationship with the attorney who was representing the Dems map. Yes. No thanks to Blake Moore, who helped the Dems and doesn't even live in his district. Exactly. You guys want an update? Because I did see a comment before about it. I think it's like +8. So technically it's true that Republicans are up in the redistricting war, but they're not up but Democrats have still improved on the prior map. You understand? Like, so the structural advantage that Republicans had is not as strong. So while I think 8 seats isn't enough to fully represent the vote correctly, it's not. I don't think it's not. North Carolina, we still have major problems. I wish we would have done this the right way instead of like having to do things like Governor DeSantis did in Florida. It will be upheld. I think it will be. I could be wrong, but I think it will be. I just think that if it's not, it's because of DeSantis' own remarks. It's just that they did the right thing. They could have went for a +5 and they didn't. They went for a +4, and that's smarter. But to give you guys an idea, where's my little handy dandy thingy here? I got Star Wars stuck in my head since last night's dog crime. Where are we at? California added 5, Tennessee adding 1, North Carolina 1, Missouri 1, Ohio 2, Texas 5, Florida 4 now, Virginia 0 because they got struck down, in Utah 1, which is Democrat +1. So California is D5, Utah D1, and Virginia nothing. Those are the blues. And then if we go in alphabetical order, in the red side, Florida +4, Ohio +2, North Carolina +1. I'm sorry, Missouri +1, North Carolina +1, Tennessee +1, Texas +5. So Democrats added 6, Republicans added 14, net gain of 8. That's about right. But Louisiana could be doing, they're going to weaken out. They're going to shit out. And actually, I think both Seth and I have this pretty much confirmed. They're going to fart out on us, guys. It's going to be +1. Alabama's going to shit. They're going to do +1. All right. So, I mean, Mississippi, we're not even sure if they're even going to do it, along with South Carolina. So they seriously may just pick up only 2. Oh my God. MAGA evangelical leaders gather at Mar-a-Lago to bless and dedicate a gold statue to Donald Trump. That's called an idol, you f***ing heretics. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's such cons. How do you expect people to follow you? How do you expect to, how do you expect to, look, it doesn't matter. I could love Donald Trump too. It still doesn't make any sense to do that. It's just disgusting. Thank you, Greg. Gifting a membership. Greg, did you see the love that you got? Man, that video went viral. And Grace Chong clipped it, sent it everywhere. And I've had 3 news agencies call me about that story ever since. And I am going to talk to them. Talk to them to some degree anyway. I don't want to totally humiliate anybody yet. Oh, shit, man. I love this comment. Was it the aliens who told Trump to invade Iran? Oh, my goodness gracious. That is such a good one. Come on, Trumpers. Come on, you boomer cons. That is funny. Stop it. I'm leaving it up on the screen. Yard Hatch. Populists really need to concentrate at the local level. Absolutely. Kevin was right on, man. It's easier to make change, and it's a farm team for higher offices. Yes. 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 That's exactly right. Blondie. Rich, is Maxine Waters dead, or does she just smell that way? She stinks. Have we been through this before, Blondie? I think we've been through this before, right? It's already May. Yeah, see, the heat's turning a corner, all right? I'm just going to tell you right now, all right? Steer clear. You know who else does? Mark Elias. Steer clear. When the weather turns, there's just some people you can't go within a certain radius. You understand? Like, you just got to stay away from the blast radius. Back blast area, clear! Feel me? Will she win her primary? Probably. Honestly, it's hard to get. It's hard to get. Let me see if there's any polling on that race. District polling. I'm curious. Man, it's 8:04 already. That doesn't look like there is any polling. Listen.
He's so cute.
You know, my kid's in my office bathroom and he's singing. Listen.
They can't hear that.
You can't think you can hear that? That sucks, man. Should I just tell him, get it, son? Get it. Right?
No, you might embarrass him.
I don't want to embarrass him. Yeah, but it's cute, though. He's got the voice of an angel, that kid. Listen to that thing.
So Owen said, well, if you think this is the case, then these aliens aren't of any moral position to judge us if we should be destroyed or not. What I said is, I think that they're a threat. This is my belief.
Laura thinks they're a threat too.
I think they leave us alone because as of now, we keep a balance to the ecosystem. But I believe the minute we throw that system off, we're screwed.
Yeah. And that could be true. You guys could be right. You guys could be right. The aliens have tiny hats. Oh, shit. And I just read that out loud. Oh, my God. You know what? I don't care. Laugh. All right? And I wear a guinea tees. Get over it. Get over yourself. We used to mock each other viciously when we were kids, and it was all good, baby. It was all good. The aliens have tiny hats, he says. Oh, my God. Oh, lordy, my audience. Hilarious. And you guys are really educated. Are you aware of that? We've done the analysis. Yeah. You guys are really educated. You have a lot of money. You're very knowledgeable about specific things, especially things that are your things. You're very knowledgeable about them. Many Renaissance peeps where you know a lot about something and you know a lot about, a little about a lot. It's a really impressive audience, actually. It's really cool.
That's why we all get along.
That's why we all get along. Can't we all just get along? All right, got through the Rumble rants. Looks like that's it, folks. I hope you guys enjoy your Friday night. I really do. Dallas, if you're here, brother, I hope you hear me out. You know what I mean? One day at a time, bro. One day at a time. 806. Links in the description. Don't forget to buy Burn It Down if you haven't bought Burn It Down already. We're trying to bank it like it's an early vote, baby. And Cynic, when you watch the recap, bro, which you're probably watching Viva, right? And when you watch the recap, I will have your audio version narrated by yours truly. Hopefully pretty soon, maybe in like a month or so, we'll see. I guess it depends too on me. All right. And I will go as far as fast as I can go. I have to get a few things like tied up first. So you can't I've never done this before, but I'm sure I can do it. I'm sure I can. And I think it's probably best if you can do it yourself to do it yourself. All right. Yeah, links in the description. It absolutely is. And we will start the Massie thing. There was I'm sure you guys could see, a significant donation that put us well within the range of being able to start the poll. And I very much want to just continuously track it until from this weekend to next weekend, which would give us basically, it would give us a lot of responses. And it would give us an idea if there's last minute movement anyway whatsoever. I feel like I'm forgetting something here. But if I am, you will see it on my locals feed. What? I did that already. Yeah.
No, this is taking forever to load.
Yeah, I don't know. Kevin O'Brien, by the way, I just wanted to thank him for coming. Oh, yeah. O'Brien with a Y, campaign.com. All right. O'Brien with a Y, campaign.com. Thank you, Kevin, for not only coming on to talk to us about your run, man, but also the inspiration of it. I'm serious, that's really the message here. You gotta do more. I'm sure we'll be seeing.
Back, we will be ignored into oblivion.
That's right. If you don't try, then they just have no reason to even respond to you.
They will see no threat.
There's no threat.
To take over.
Business as usual just comes and goes. Like, he got really close for an area that's very difficult to run in. And I was specifically, by the way, on Travis County, because I was like stunned. It was really close. All right. So I'm going to go, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Don't do anything I would do. Right? Enjoy it. I have done some incredibly stupid stuff.
I've saved your life several occasions.
At least 4.
A minimum.
Let's go through this real quick. One more thing here, guys. Let's go through this. One time I got stung. What was it called? Because he was right. It was
Hold on. Mantix? It would start with an M.
Let me see. Mantis wasp.
I was right.
Cleomycelia brunella. Watch manta fly. Now this one looks a little bit different. Maybe he is right because there are different colors of them. But it was this one was actually black and bluish. But in any event, I used to be, when I was young, could be allergic to things, and stings was one of them. But then I got stung by, I don't even know. It was a ridiculous number of stings. I stepped on a ground bee's nest when I was fishing for what I thought, I kid you not, looked like a 15-pound largemouth basking at the surface of Croton Reservoir in New York. I jumped off this boulder to get closer to be able to throw my Rapala, whatever you want to call it, top water minnow in front of him, see if I couldn't get him to just instinctively bite it. And I sunk when I hit the ground. And I was like, whatever, And I continue on, and I hear something like behind me, and I'm like, the hell is that? Sounds like a damn tornado or something. I was little, and it was this, all I saw was this like halfway black, almost completely black cloud. I'm like, oh my God, I stepped on a ground bee's nest, and they just stung the hell out of me. I should have been dead, but I wasn't. And I hadn't gotten any kind of anaphylactic reaction. Doctor was like, well, you either die or you build antibodies. If you don't have your EpiPen, you have 2 choices, drop dead or build antibodies. And apparently I did. And I'd been stung many, many times after that. Never bothered me. This thing in Florida stung me. It looked like it was bred in the lab. It was like this big, and it was black with blue stripes. It was crazy. It was huge. And it hit me. It landed right here and hit me on the back of the brainstem, boy. And it was like, wham, and it hurt. And I was like, holy crap, that hurt. But I'm good. And Laura was like, I don't know. I don't think you look so good. I don't think you look so good. And I'm like, baby, I'm fine. And she's like, go take some Benadryl. Please take some Benadryl. I'm like, I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be groggy. I'm good, baby. Let's go. Let's continue. Yeah. Within 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute, I start to feel a little itchy. And I'm like, uh-oh. But I don't want to scare her. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go. Pile in the Jeep. Let's go.
I shoved Benadryl down your throat first.
But we didn't get there yet.
The
I'm trying to hide it from her because you know what starts to happen? These blisters. Like I'm getting blisters. Like big. I'm like, I literally took a pocket knife and was like started popping them with the pocket knife because I didn't want her to see. Anyway, eventually it's just impossible to hide. My face is huge. I can't breathe. She starts trying to stuff Benadryl down my throat. I didn't even get that Benadryl down.
Yes, you did. You got it.
I don't know. It broke in my throat. It was. Yeah, I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't know. She gets me in the Jeep, which is crazy because I'm much big, like way more than her. She was like all of 115 pounds back then. And like, she manhandled me. She was like, you ain't dying from a damn wasp thing or whatever. And I'm like, I can't even talk at this point. I'm just looking at her like, if you let me die with a wasp thing, I'm going to come back and haunt you. Like, I've had so much happen to me in my life. If I go down like this, I'm going to be pissed. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been your own fault.
It would have been my own fault. But I could not breathe. Like, it was bad. So she puts me in the Jeep. She speeds up the road, and up the road, like 2 miles, literally, it was like almost exactly 2 miles, is a fire station. And she zooms into the fire station, hot, man. She comes in hot, gets out, leans over, opens the door handle, kicks me out into the damn concrete. All the guys are like, the hell's going on? Slow down. What is going on? She's like, he's dying. Anaphylactic shock. And I'm like, and they're like, what happened to him? And she was like, I don't know what it was. It was weird looking, but it got him. So they, thank God, they had like more than just like, they did have liquid Benadryl, which they hit me with, some kind of liquid antihistamine. And then there was like a steroid, but it wasn't as powerful. I think it was prednisone or something like that. It wasn't enough, but it was enough to get me to the hospital, where the doctor runs over and because I'm bad. I look bad. I can barely see. I'm starting to cloud up. And he's just like, listen, normally I administer this really, really slow so your body can take it, but we don't have time for any of that shit. So you're going to throw up. And he just hits me with this steroid and he jams it in and just like The Exorcist, guys, like The Exorcist, like it just came out. But I didn't care because I was so relieved. If the vomit's coming out, guess what? I can breathe. Oh my God. It was so bad. It literally took me 2-3 days to recover from whatever that thing was. Somebody at the gym recently said, oh, I know what you got stung by. And he told us, and I just looked it up. That's not it. It was something else. Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird name. Yeah. And then anyway, that is definitely it. Because I know I've been stung by hornets. I've been stung by wasps. I've been stung by bees. I've been stung by killer bees. I've been stung by ants.
Proceeded to tell you how stupid you were and you were lucky.
Yeah, I was almost dead. Yep, I was almost dead.
And then the doctor proceeded to
I would have
tell
died.
you that if it was not for your wife,
I would have died. I would have died. That whatever that was hit me like a snake bite. It was bad. And by the way, I have been bitten by snakes. I got bit in my shin by a copperhead, which isn't a hemotoxin, but it's bad. And my brother, I was little at this time. We were playing on a pile of wood, and I just kicked the pile of wood. And like, you know, we were playing like boys play. And I kicked the pile of wood, and there was the son of a bitch balled up, and I couldn't get my leg back fast enough, and he bit me right in the shin. I was like, oh my God. My brother ran me through the woods, darted through the woods so fast with me on his shoulder like Captain America. It was crazy. And I was all right because I got to a hospital very quickly. I've been bit by a black widow because my genius son, he was only like 4 maybe at the time, my oldest son. I was outside sweeping the back porch. This was Florida. There are black widows everywhere. And I was sweeping cobwebs, what I thought were cobwebs, and they were like female widows, like nesting, and it crawled up the broom, and he went to touch it or something. And I was like, no. And I moved the broom, and it landed on my leg and bit me. And then I waited, because I called the hospital and I was like, I've been bit by a black widow. Laura was like, go to the hospital. I was like, I don't think you'd die from this.
idiot.
I'm like, I've been bit by a black widow, and I'm not. And I waited to call because at first it felt like a mosquito bite. They don't hurt. Like the bite doesn't hurt, and then
It's the burn
it took
sensation.
hours, and like maybe 2-3 hours later, I start to feel, no, I felt crampy, and yes, it itched and burned, but my muscle was feeling crampy. Then I was having difficulty breathing and I was sweating. It was like a bad flu. And actually, guys, you know what it felt like? Freaking opioid withdrawal. Like it was bad. Like my muscles ached. I wanted to crawl out of my skin. Then I call North Florida and I'm like, hey, I got bit by a black widow. I'm not feeling so good. What should I do? And it's already too late. So to give you guys a heads up, like if you get bit by a black widow and you think you're not in great health, or it's a young child or an elderly person, you better go and go soon, because the only way they can really, if they have a serum, which is created by horses too, if they have it, they have to administer it fast. Otherwise, it's ride or die, baby. And that's what happened to me. I waited too long and it was ride or die. So I was just being, carefully observed, but I wrote it out. It was bad though. It was not cool. And then the bull sharks. That was,
oh my God.
and then after that, I'm done. You only saved my life with the hornet, whatever that thing was, and the bull sharks.
Oh, we don't remember us taking medicine we were allergic to and continuing.
Oh my God, never mind. The Bactrim. I had no idea I was allergic to Bactrim. Okay, how many of these do you have? Because that is another legitimate example of you saving my life. You know how they tell you to take antibiotic and you have to just you have to finish taking the antibiotic,
But guys, after a week, you should start feeling better, not worse.
I thought I was just sick. I had the flu.
You were taking medicine.
Well, then I turned into a lobster, and I was basically a lobster for 3 days. The worst headache ever. If you are allergic to an antibiotic, it's more than just an anaphylactic shock. You will get a feeling like you are sick. And then I had this pounding headache. It felt like there was a troll inside my head with a chisel and a hammer, just going dink, 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 dink. And I'm like, 3 days, I'm like this. I'm like, something's wrong. I don't know. This antibiotic's not working. And Laura,
You look like you're allergic.
you have to go look at your skin. You're allergic to Bactrim. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I've never been allergic to any antibiotic.
You're a different color.
And she's like, you don't look right. Maybe it's a different kind of antibiotic. And indeed it is. So it's not like an amoxicillin or a penicillin or something, which most people are, if you're allergic to an antibiotic, it's something like that. So like, Keflex, Bactrim, they are different. So that's what it was. And the doctor did say, if you would have went one more day, that was lights out for you, buddy. So you're lucky your wife, convinced you to come. I was bad. And then there's the bull sharks. And then that's it.
No.
The bull sharks.
There are other ones.
You just can't mention some of the other ones. I don't know. Maybe you can, but whatever. I'm not ashamed of anything. I was an idiot. I was a stupid idiot and active. If it was an active addiction, I was absolutely reckless. I mean, because I just didn't care, as people do when they get into the throes, But the bull sharks were different. I was just drunk and stupid, and I was with a couple friends. And there's a part of the Pier Yacht Club area in that town where the fishermen come in and early in the morning. And they come and they get the hoses out and they spray off the guts and clean the fish. And, they're throwing heads and tails and stuff. So the bull sharks know this, and they come and they go and eat what the fishermen are shooting off the boat. What the hell did I know? I come out, my friend Bob and Dylan and I we jump off the pier of the yacht, which you're not supposed to do. There are ladders there. They're for the people. They're for, people have boats. You're not supposed to swim there. It's not what
they did at night.
I just mentioned it. Yes, they spray the guts off. Yes.
Okay.
That's why there are sharks there.
Yeah,
I got there.
It's chum, right? And then we go, whee! Let's go for a swim.
You want to feel real terror? Get bumped by a shark. That's real terror. And Dylan froze. Oh, I wonder if Dylan's out there. He hears this episode. It'd be hilarious. And pretended he was a piece of driftwood. Okay. He was literally saying, I'm driftwood. I'm driftwood. I'm driftwood. I'm driftwood. And we found him like a mile down the beach. Okay. And he was washed up on the beach, still pretending he was driftwood. That's how scared he was. I'm kidding you not. But for me, I felt something move to the side of me, which will sober you up very quickly. And it's the feeling of a large animal that is displacing the water next to your body. Like, there's a large animal with you. And it was dark. And you're not the apex predator. It was like what? Because the bar closed and we left when the bar closed, and they stayed with us. No, it was later than that because he stayed. It was later. They were cleaning up and we were still talking with them. So it had to be like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and that fisherman came in. So it had to be like 2:30, 3 o'clock. Anyway, I did not stay calm like other people. They tell you to stay calm. Oh, don't make any crazy splashes or swim underwater. Yeah, okay. I lost underwater. Yeah, and no, I lost all. I didn't panic. I just made a decision that I'm gonna swim for the ladder, and that's it. If they get me, they get me, because there was multiple ones. Some they felt small, but one felt large, and he hit me.
Doesn't take
and when
one to take an arm.
No, a bull shark. No, a 6 foot, 4 foot bull shark. I'll take an arm. I'm not a big guy. That's all I could think about. I'm not losing. I had just gotten pins in my hip from the military. All I could think about was, oh no, you're not taking one of my limbs. Like, no, so I made the decision to go, and I swam as fast as I could. Once I got hit, I made an instant decision, and I swam to the ladder, and there were barnacles on the ladder. I didn't know. It was dark. But you're not paying attention anyway to the damn barnacles on the ladder. You're climbing out of the water. So I get up there and I feel pain, like throbbing pain. I'm like, the hell is, he got me. He got me. One of them got me. It wasn't. The barnacles cut the shit out of my hands and my feet. You could see the skin flapping. It was so bad, bleeding everywhere. And the fishermen are just making fun of me. They're just like, you stupid idiot. Like, they're literally signs right there. Do not swim here. There are sharks. And I'm like, look at that. Like, I was drunk and I just didn't see the sign. And my wife didn't even talk to me for like 3 hours. She didn't care. I was bleeding. She was so pissed at me. We weren't married at that time.
Yes, we were married.
Maybe just newly married?
We were newly married. And I turned around and I said, you deserve it.
Yeah, she was pissed. She was so pissed. She was so mad. Did you see them from? It was dark. I don't know if you could see them. You could see the swirl. Yeah.
And I said, you idiot.
Yeah.
And I was screaming at you.
And this is a guy who was like, I loved to watch like Jaws when I was younger, and I loved to watch sharks stuff when I was younger, but I was scared of them. Like, legit, I was. Like, that is a fear. Like, I do have a shark fear, I believe. I mean, I think you can classify it as a shark fear. I think I maintain myself pretty well.
I don't think it's a fear. I think it's a healthy pecking order.
Yeah, but I used to have, like, when I was young, I had nightmares about Jaws eating me like he ate Quint off the boat.
Oh, so you just wanted to make it like a whole movie?
It looked like it was 6 feet of water, baby. It didn't look like it was, it didn't look deep. But bull sharks go in very shallow water, obviously. And the funny thing is, then we move all the way here, and it's like the bull shark capital of the world. Moorhead, close.
And what does Laura not go past?
Yep, I'll tell you right now. I don't even know. At some time of the year, I don't even want to go in, and I love Moorhead. I don't want to say this because I don't want to make anybody scared to come here and go in the water, but because there's no reason to be. But there are wrecks out further, and I've seen them. There are so many bull sharks by those wrecks. So I'm not comfortable going that close to the water. And then there was the one time in Belmar, New Jersey, when there was like that 18-foot great white, and the helicopter came over and started screaming at me because they had the beach closed. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was stupid. I was like 19, and I was at Belmar, New Jersey on the beach, and they closed the beach because there was like a very large female great white, like 18 feet or something. They were saying like 16 or 18 feet. And I didn't hear about it. I'm listening to 95.9 The Rat like every day. Or I think I did hear about it. I just got drunk and didn't care. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I really don't. And then they come over like with the helicopter, and they're like screaming out of it. Like, are you an idiot? The beach is closed. There's a white shark like 200 yards. Get out of the water. And I was like, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, really? Oh my God, right. Oh my God, okay.
Remember when you wanted to put the ladder that went from one side of the wall to the next, and you were going to just walk across it?
Which walls?
These walls, when you were going to make that right decision to hang the sign that we had made out of metal, and I told you that wasn't a bright idea. And
Man,
you try it.
No, I don't remember that.
You remember that big ladder? You don't remember?
The little giant?
Yeah, the little giant. You're like, oh, I could just put it this way, and I'm like, You know, that's not a good idea.
Did I do it?
You went to do it, and then
and it slipped.
and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh.
I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, this is why you need to get married. I'm serious. Like, get married, have kids. Women will keep you alive. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you'll know, by the way, I never want to experience something like that again, but I do want to go in a cage and watch. I do want to go shark diving in a cage. Yeah, because I've never been around or that close to a great white. Really, what I want to do, guys, is just go in the cage, and when the great white comes by the cage, I just want to reach out and touch the great white. I just want to feel the great white. No, I'm not going to lose my arm. I'm going to wait for him to be so far he can't spin around.
One's going to come up from the
yeah.
You can't see him, and he's going to rip it right off.
Oh my God, that's totally my luck.
Call you nubs
That's totally my luck, though, isn't it? Isn't it? Like, I think I see, I got the shark. I'm in control, but I don't see the one that comes like the breach move from below and takes the arm.
Because they are known for doing that.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Yeah, I know. You know that I know that I'm right, and you.
No, I mean, I think I'm be perfectly fine in a cage. I'm not. I don't
take medicine.
I would not jump in that. I would not jump in that water today. I am a totally different guy, and we did not have kids back then, so I was.
You still want to go swimming with them like an idiot.
I don't want to open water swim with them.
Yeah.
I just want to go in the cage.
And then that cage door will break, and then all of a sudden, guess who's swimming?
There's that girl. She's the shark whisperer.
Yeah, the shark whisperer.
She's alive.
Oh, good for her.
I'm not doing that shit. I'm not. But I will go in a cage.
Matter of time, statistically speaking, one will get hungry, and then they'll be bye-bye.
Oh, she's gone. I'm sorry. I love what you do, honey, but like, you're eventually something's gonna eat you, bro. Like, you're playing a dangerous game. You think you can read the shark's fins? Its pectoral fins are down. Its pectoral fins are up. Back is hunched. Its back is not hunched. Yeah, Steve Irwin thought the same thing. And he caught maybe he didn't get eaten by a crocodile, but he caught a stingray to the chest piece, dude. Okay, be smart. I'm not that dumb. I'm going in the cage.
Profile said, I've surfed all over the country. I see a shark, I'm paddling. Sure.
Dude, if I had to do it again, I think I would like to say I would handle it differently, but it doesn't matter. I got away, right? So what does it matter? I didn't do the right thing, though. And now that I look back on it, I know I didn't do the right thing. But I'll tell you what. You want to, very funny, Owen. You see if you can contain yourself. If the ladder is like right there, and I want to say it's like 5 feet away, it was right there. You're going for it too. You're not going to calmly back up and no bullshit.
You're going to face it.
Not when that thing hits you in the back and gives you a bump and you can feel it and you know exactly what it is because it doesn't have a pointy nose. There's no point bump. It was a hard ridge bump, like somebody hit you like kind of hard with a bat, like not so hard, but like it's a cross. You feel it. They're strong. Those that are all muscle. That's all they are is muscle. I'll eat your ass next time, bull shark. How about that?
Keep talking trash.
What could possibly happen, Rich? And there goes the People's Pundit. You see the kid? Yeah. Here he goes. Here comes the People's Pundit. I'm playing this. Can I play this? Here we go. I'm playing this. This is how we're gonna exit this puppy right here. Come on now. This is what'll happen to the People's Pundit. Okay. I regret nothing. Yeah, that would be my luck. I actually was watching something the other day, and fishermen, the great white did breach and hit the boat, landed on the boat, broke his arm. They're heavy. They're huge. My landlord in Florida, he owned the property that the University of Florida, they have an amazing prehistoric period exhibit. They have a lot of Gainesville, right? Remember? Yeah. The museum was awesome. The kids loved it. And they had like teeth from megalodons, and they compared them to great whites and other evolutions of Carcharodon. Of course, the great white is Carcarian on Carius, I believe. Anyway, he owned the buildings, which were really just giant storage units, where the university put their overflow that wasn't on display. So there were dinosaurs in his buildings. There were all sorts of really cool things. And I guess at one point they had a shark exhibit, and they had what was a 15-foot great white, like a legit great white, not a recreation, because they didn't do it like that back then, a taxidermied 15-foot great white. And it was like twisting a little bit. They had it posed with a twist, its mouth open, like it was turning a little bit and opening its mouth to come and eat something. 15 feet is big. Like, you like watch these stories like I Survived or a story like that, and you'll see somebody recount like a great white attack, and if they're like six guys, so-and-so was really hit by a 16-foot great white. Dude,
I survived because of my wife.
The mouth of a 15-foot great white, if it gets me correctly, could sever me. Like it could. An 18-foot great white, I'm gone, man. I'm gone. So are you. We're gone. You're gone. And that girl, she's playing dangerous game because, they're eventually, sometimes they just decide that they're hungry. And that's especially if it's like a large pregnant female. Do you remember that kid? Oh, heartbreaking. This guy was like so smart. He had his whole life ahead of him. It was his birthday. It was Long Reach. Why can't I remember the name of your state? Long Reach. Australia.
Country, you mean?
Thank you. He was like 19. I think it was his 19th birthday. He was already very wealthy because he had developed some kind of like scooter thing that people bought. And he was like taking care of his family and everything. He just had his whole life ahead of him. And he decided on his birthday he wanted to go out and do whatever it is. You get on a board and they tow you from behind. Tragically, man, this is a horrible story. Tragically, his friend's doing it, and him and his other friend on the boat are arguing over who's going to go next. And he jokes and he's like, "It's my birthday. I'm going next." In truth, this female was probably following the other friend. But when he jumped in the water, and he jumped right next to the board, and he just went down in the water a little bit, came up and grabbed the board like this to stabilize himself, to get on it. And this giant female just came from below, got almost his entire lower body, and he knew it was a great white, which is the scariest part about it. He knew exactly what happened. And his friends like grabbing oars and like hitting the thing in the head because it's right by the boat. She didn't flinch, man. She literally slowly went around this boat and adjusted her mouth and cracked him up until she could get him down. And like, don't give me this shit. They don't eat people. Like, they're so cute. They're hungry. They eat people. That kid was gone. You know what they found of him? Nothing but his yellow bathing suit and his keys inside the zipper, because it has zipper pocket. You know what his keychain was? A great white. So sad. Kid had his whole life ahead of him.
Keyword head.
So sad.
Go swim with sharks, Rich.
But I'm not doing that. I'm going in the cage. Come on, Owen. Help me out here. What, He's on your side, clearly. All right. Let me kick rocks here. It's 8:35. I'm going to get a protein shake. I'll read your comments while I drink the protein shake. How about that? I'm hungry. Got to go get some calories. Had a good workout today. My arm is feeling better. What is this? Haha. All because he did not listen to his wife and he was never seen again. Very funny. I see. He went to pull Atlantis under the sea. Yeah. Man, it has a doll's eyes, Rich. Dead eyes. Yeah. Man, what's his name? Plays Quinn. He's so good in that scene. You know the thing about a shark's eyes. It's got lifeless eyes. Until it bites down, they roll over white. Laura has survived so far, married to Rich. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that's true. I think guys are kind of naturally reckless a little bit when they're younger, especially they are. And I was definitely an extreme version of recklessness. There's no doubt. Thank God I've matured.
Uh-huh. There needs to be a show, I said, called I Survived Because of My Wife.
Yeah, Laura. I survived because of my wife. Yeah, I mean, I surfed all over the country. I see that comment. I see a shark and my ass is paddling ashore. I'm telling you, man. Have you ever seen a shark profile? The truth is, I still didn't really see it. I just felt it. There were swirls. You could see the water disturbed, but I felt the water before I even noticed the disturbance at the surface of the water. I could feel, and you probably know this as a surfer. I wonder if you've ever felt this. Like, I could feel that there was a large animal that just went past. Like, its fin moved the water and displaced it. Didn't touch me, but I could feel the displacing of the water because it was actually relatively still there. You know, there wasn't like, we're not talking about, Whitecap area. This is a cove, where they know to come to eat whatever they throw off the boat at the end. I wonder if you've ever, if that ever happened to you, because, yeah.
You want to know the only life-threatening thing I ever did was just give birth.
That's pretty life-threatening, though.
But I had a team of doctors.
Thank God.
Me and nurses.
Thank God for modern medicine, because,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually not funny, like it could have been bad. All right, 8:37.
Look,
I'm out.
Never catch me near or in
oh, you answered?
Around sharks, even if you paid me.
You'll never catch me near or in a cage around sharks. If Rich had joined the Navy, yeah, you know that guy he's always on Shark Week too. He's Australian Special Forces,
Yeah,
and he was doing Paul. He was doing a nighttime exercise, and he got it. Yeah, he got it. That was a bull shark. That was a large bull shark. It was like a 12-foot bull shark or something. They said, which is an insanely big bull shark.
That lady who was like, bull sharks are so nice and friendly, and then off goes the calf muscle.
Oh, the guy. That was a guy. No, it was a guy. He was like trying to prove to the world with Jacques whatever that bull sharks are perfectly fine and temperamental, but I'm not just temperamental, but you can control them. And then it took a chunk out of his calf. It took his calf. That's one of the most gruesome shark attack videos out there still to this day. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I see a lot of I appreciate all your comments. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Everything for the shares, the super chats, the gifted memberships. That's awesome. I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your Friday. And I will see you guys tomorrow, especially you locals. Keep you posted on what I think I see so far, too, once we start to really gather some more data in Kentucky 4. Hopefully, we'll do it for the rest of the week into the next weekend, and we can have an idea of last-minute movement stuff, plus more to come, obviously. Don't forget to follow the gram at peoples_pundit on the gram. The best place, of course, to follow us is right here on Locals. peoplespundit.locals.com, peoplespundit.locals.com. But please join the gram, right? All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Yes, have a blessed rest of your Friday. Thanks for watching, as always. Deuces.
Deuces.
I took that. I snagged you, deuces.